We ready to go?
Let's do it.
Okay. Will someone take a bite of their sandwich so that I can call on them to lead us in the flag salute?
So 6:17 starts.
So let's go ahead and start our meeting. It is 6:17 today. Is the 9th, and we are starting our Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council monthly meeting. So we're going to start calling this meeting to order. Can we start the recording, please? Got it. And let's call roll call.
Okay. Thomas Norman.
Present.
Kane Nichols.
Present.
John
Here.
Rivera. Vic is excused. Ray.
Here.
Christina Barbera.
No, she's still.
Excused.
Yeah. So is April.
Okay. Adrian Fernandez. Cynthia Gagne. Anybody here from Cynthia?
No.
Unexcused. April is excused. She sent an email.
Yeah.
Gwen Henry. Melanie LeBrec. Kelly Miller.
Here.
Angela Sumner. Anybody here from Angela?
Yes, she's excused.
Okay. Chris Valle.
Present.
Mel Herrera. Mel?
May.
Or May, excuse me. May. Sorry. I'm reading it wrong. Christina Calander.
Present.
Okay. And we have a quorum.
Okay, great. All right, we're going to move on from agenda item number 1, moving on to agenda item number 2. Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. We need a flag salute. So
I'll do it. You stand.
thank you.
Put your right hand over your heart. Again. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Play ball. Sorry, I was an umpire for too many years.
Oh, that's okay.
All right.
I'm still waiting.
Now we're moving on to general public comment on non-agenda items, item number 2 on our agenda. And I have, I think 5 so far. If anyone has anything they're going to want to say on non-agenda items, please fill out a card. So we're going to start. Can we start with you, Councilman? I think that would be great. I'm going to change up the meeting a little bit. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Councilman?
I did not come to make a presentation about current events, although I'm happy to do so. I came for a very special purpose. Are you aware of my special purpose?
You have to deliver the cookies.
You are?
I think I am.
You are. Very good. So, Tim McCosker was a young college student coming up, and I was back in Indiana. I grew up in San Pedro, as you know, but I was back in college in Indiana. And I applied for a summer service job with the city of Los Angeles. And I got a job at the port of Los Angeles. A different aside, because a great lady named Vi Marinkovich. Does anybody remember Vi Marinkovich?
Yes.
So Vi Marinkovich was like the personnel director type person at the Port of LA. And when the student professional workers applications came through, she sifted through them and she found at least one that was from San Pedro. This young Tim McCosker wanted to be a student professional worker. And I got offered a job technically from Joan Milky Flores, but it was really because Vi Marinkovich put the application up front. And I get to the city of LA. I get to the city of LA, and I'm working as a student professional worker, Port of Los Angeles. I'm just a month over 18 years old, and they have me working technically in construction and maintenance, but they loaned me to the accounting department. Explain that one. There's no explanation. One of my jobs, I'm getting to the point, don't worry. One of my jobs was to push mail around the office in the building, in the administration building. And when I pushed mail past the city attorney's office, he won't remember this, I met and got to know, just on a mentor-mentee basis, Pat Nave. Pat Nave was an attorney at the city attorney's office working at the Port of Los Angeles, and I said to myself as a young kid, I better go to law school because I want that kind of a job. Get to work in my community, get to do good things, get to be a lawyer, get to talk a lot, get to analyze, work with clients, and he just seemed so cool and has remained so cool to me forever. The beauty of my life is that fast forward, I become a person in the city attorney's office and hopefully a person that does a little bit of good in and around the harbor area in San Pedro, and I get to know the power behind Pat Nave, Diana Nave, and get to know this unbelievable power couple. When I say power, I mean the good kind of power, the kind of power where you can affect people's lives by reading and writing and analyzing. And then Pat, of course, is always capable of putting together a great argument. In fact, just now, instead of just, small talking, we were looking at some of his papers and talking about traffic counts on John Gibson. You probably know which projects we're talking about. But then as I'm doing this job, I work closely with neighborhood councils, as you all know, and I read some of the most exquisite analysis of projects. And they come from different parts of the district. We know that Gina Martinez does a good job too, right? She does a great job. She's really great analyst of public policy. But Diana Nave, I'm sure with a little bit of input from Pat, is the exception. She is the exceptional neighborhood council activist, community activist, person who took, just like the two of them, took their excellent work for the city of Los Angeles and for the communities, and in their private life said, my public service isn't over. I'm going to keep working for the public good. And so I came tonight because you should always praise people and be able to give them their flowers when they're right here in our presence. I came tonight, drum roll please. So embarrassing. He said, it's so embarrassing. I came tonight because I have the honor, sometimes as a council member, to be with people and to celebrate with them and to give them honors that I could probably never achieve while they are serving with us. And I want to present first, I do Pat first, I'll save the best for last. I want to present first from the City of Los Angeles a certificate of recognition presented to Pat Nave on behalf of the City of Los Angeles and the 1-5. We extend our sincere gratitude and recognition for your decades of dedicated and exemplary civic service to the San Pedro and the harbor area community within Los Angeles. As a retired city attorney with deep experience in the Port of Los Angeles matters, you generously shared your legal expertise with neighborhood councils through thoughtful review of complex reports, careful drafting of resolutions, and trusted counsel on behalf of the entire community. We wish you all the very best. Pat Nave, I want to give this to you. Let's hear it for Pat Nave.
I want to tell you that I remember Tim coming around with Vime Marinkovich, and I've always thought that the reason that he wanted to be a lawyer was because every time he came around, I had my feet up on my desk.
He's going to fill those shoes.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim.
And now, no, what I want to say before we do, why don't we do the drum roll? Let's do the drum roll. So I share a few things with Pat Nave. I've been a lawyer. I've had great clients. I work for the city. And I have, just like Pat has, a dedicated spouse who is a partner and advisor to me. And so let's hear for Connie McCosker for a second. And so on behalf of the City of Los Angeles and the 1-5, we extend our sincere thanks and appreciation for your decades of dedicated and exemplary civic service, Diana Nave, to the San Pedro community and the City of Los Angeles through your leadership on the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council and your long service on the joint planning committees. You fostered open, civic, public engagement and shared your invaluable expertise on land use and harbor area development. Your commitment has enriched the local life in lasting ways, and we wish you all the best in the years ahead. Diana Nave.
I know. I'm not sure I can say anything. I'm starting to cry. It's been such an honor to be a part of this, and it's been so much a part of our lives to participate in the Neighborhood Council. And I'm also so honored to have participated in Tim's campaign because I feel like he's the best council person we ever could have had down here. And so I'm just so excited about it. But thank you so much.
Let's get a picture together. God bless you. You're shooting a video? We should
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you for letting me do that.
And you didn't get rid of us quite so soon. We'll be around for a little while still.
I guess we can go home.
Diana, if I can just say that every second Monday of the month when I'm leaving and my wife asks me, where are you going? She owes it all to you. Thank you so much for introducing me to the neighborhood council system. And thank you.
Can I say something as well?
Go ahead.
So, Diana, I moved here, what was it, 2015. And I went up the hill with my dog. I threw the boxes down. I went up the hill with my dog. I said, let's go check out the neighborhood. And right up at the top, it said Neighborhood Council meeting tonight. I went, okay, Barkley, we're putting you back in. And I came here, and I was listening to everything. And when you came up and spoke about several motions about planning and land use issues, and you were talking about this and that, about new developments and some of the concerns and environmental and the landscape plan and this and that, I went, what? Oh my God! And you described very complex things and made it very simple, but also caught my ear because I realized how impactful the thoughts were that were being presented, and that this group here was going to vote and approve it, and move it forward to the city. And so it actually was you that made me realize the importance of it, and I said, I got to get involved with this right away. And the next election, that's what I did. So, just saying.
We have another hand. Chris.
I just want to echo all the previous sentiments and personally thank Pat and Diana. I've said it many times. I'm going to keep saying it. When they're not out seeing the world, they're changing the world. The things that they do in their free time to help us, we could blow through our yearly budget in an afternoon. So, thank you for being good neighbors and for showing us how it's done.
Melanie?
Yeah, it's going to be sad to see Diana leave and Pat. They've been such an instrument in the neighborhood council program and everything going on in the community, and always involved. And Diane's the reason why I got on neighborhood council, even applied and got involved, was because of her. And she has been an example and a mentor. Between her and Lori, that's why I've been here for 10 plus years, is because they showed me the example of the type of people that serve on this neighborhood council and the type of people that are respected on the neighborhood council. And I want to continue to show that example by her, the way that she's shown.
Thank you. Adrian?
Thank you. I just want to give such a great thanks to Diana and Pat. Just phenomenal work. I could really remember before getting on this neighborhood council, coming up as a stakeholder, trying to get involved. One of the first volunteer opportunities that I've ever done in public service was the Friends of Peck Park Canyon. And that was the gateway for me, I felt, of getting involved in the community. So I just want to thank you for that. And over the years, getting through this neighborhood council process, watching what you've done and all the things, it's just so inspiring. And myself being a young person, that's something just to admire of. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity that was given to me December of 2023 it was. So just want to give so much thanks. And
I so enjoyed watching you grow at Pedro.
really
Really great.
Thank you. John?
I'm going to tell you guys a real quick funny story. I lived next door to, she's no longer there, Lori Jacobs. So when we first moved here in 2015, Lori, we met and everything. So the following year, the 16th, she goes, hey, I need you to do Pathways to Employment for me, okay? Contact Pat, Diana, and she'll tell you everything, what you got to do. And so you remember that? I went there, I signed up and everything. And so I met her. I ran into her in the lobby here. And I go, Diane? She says, yeah. Oh, I'm John. Oh, okay. Little did I know, I signed up, and I signed up for being on the council. So nobody knew me. I didn't know. I was just signing up for Pathways to Employment. And so I ended up getting 18 votes without nobody knowing me and just being here. So thanks to Diana, I kept on going. The following year I joined, and I've been here for the council. So thank you.
All right, Thomas.
Well, I want to make sure I give equal love to Pat and Diana. You both have been very important, not only to me, but to my family. Similar story, I think, to Gwen. We were doing one of the many activities here at this wonderful park and saw this call for neighborhood council and a seat. And actually, my oldest got on the regular seat before that became illegal for youth folks. And so Alec, I know he wishes he could be here to thank you for the mentoring, because for my family, it's weeks, if not months of time that to have spent with, when you add up all the Normans, from Alec learning to do planning and land use and him realizing it was 2 committees a month with the joint one, but the education serving him very well in Berkeley, to Benjamin, to Abigail. So all three have benefited, and I'd only wish for the other youth, when the Naves embrace you, they don't only teach you, they don't only mentor you, they invite you to their house, they have food, they let you swim in their swimming pool. Pat will give you a ride in his car, right? He's got a really fun, sporty car. If you're nice, I guess. He's got... And, Pat, you're helping me take what was very daunting as a volunteer to figure out how to read, Augie's these port reports from the port and environmental impact statements. And you're very patient. You are, incredibly intelligent, great to learn for. You've had an influence on my children. Maybe it'll be like Tim. I'm not sure, if one of them will become a lawyer, but I wouldn't count Alec out on that, even though he's studying engineering currently. And then Diana, too, you're just your warmth and the way you interact with the community allows me as a professor that speaks here, speaks around the nation and internationally. You are two of the people that I try to get the young folks who think you can do it all on TikTok or online. Like, this is what government, good government and politics looks like. You can do online, but you still need to get together. You don't need to swim in everybody's pool or whatever, but I mean, breaking bread and having that level of comfort and care is something. And then I'll let the council member know he's on the list too. And when I want to give them hope that there are people who are still good people and not like some of these personalities they see online, that you are the best I think a community has to offer. So to Pat and Diana, just know how much you meant to me and my family. Thank you.
You're here.
Kane.
I'll be brief. The Naves have been an inspiration for me as I've joined a amazing neighborhood council. As a person that's always looking to inspire through organization, it was refreshing to find a gem and gold standard with the both of you. Extremely active, not only as a neighbor, but also as the business of the community. And those two usually don't meet as equals. We're good people and good business, or for some reason. But it's been, as one of the newest members of the community, it's been welcoming, it's been peaceful, and it's for the most part, you've been a part of what belonging means. And so thank you for being who you are. Thank you for your service. And thank you for just being who you are, which is great people. And thank you for allowing me to lead in the Port and Land Use Committee as well. So it's gold shoes, big feet.
So, I just thought of something that I really want to say, and I'm sure Tim will back it up. Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council is the best neighborhood council in the whole system, right? Right, Tim?
Yes.
Aye.
All in favor?
And I think we all owe it to all the work that Diana has put into it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Phil. John Greenwood, that's right, absolutely. Yeah. Great guy. Terrific. Okay. I think we can move on to agenda item number 2 now. Thank you for letting us embarrass you all, and thank you for the great certificates, Tim. Really appreciate it. So,
God bless the Seahawks.
So we're going to go ahead now move on to general public comment, agenda item number 2 on non-agenda items. I have cards here, so we're going to start off with number 1. The first, I call them as I get them. So the first one is Pat and Abe.
Surprise. Item 3.
Is this on item 3? Oh, my fault. Never mind. Item 3, you got it. Okay, so number 2 is Adrian.
Oh.
Hang on.
Good evening, Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council. My name is Adrian. I am one of the College Corner staff at the Toberman Neighborhood Center. And I just want to share 2 things that are happening. Currently, we just launched our College Corner Homework Club program. This is offered to grades 6 through 12. So if you have anybody who's in that age range, we offer free tutoring, Wi-Fi, and just a quiet space to be. So. And then the second thing I want to announce is that we will be having a family movie night on February the 12th. It will be at the Toberman Neighborhood Center. We'll have popcorn. We'll be watching Wreck-It Ralph. So bring your families, bring your kids, and have some fun on February 12th. Thank you. And the flyers are over there.
right, thank you. Next, Christina Calandra.
Hello, Christina Calandra. I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention from the County of Los Angeles Public Health Department. I believe it's already been published on our website, but because we have a lot of raccoons here in the Peck Park area, the raccoons are carrying a roundworm right now, so it is important for everybody to protect their dogs because there is an issue with that, and there have been 8 cases reported.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's something that's important, and I believe Chris has already put the notice on our website. The other thing that just was announced is that the New World screwworm is now made its way to the Texas-U.S. border and is traveling, and that will travel in open wounds and that sort of thing. So if you're traveling across borders, to be careful on that. And then finally, I just wanted to let everybody know, because I know there's always concerns about the Harbor Animal Shelter. This weekend, I volunteered my time at SPCA in Hawthorne for their animal shelter adoption and low-cost vaccine clinic. And it was a great community event. The director, the medical director there, actually volunteered to help us. So I was hoping that I can reach out to Harbor Shelter and Camp to see if we could work together and have an event like that, because the community was so appreciative. So hopefully we can plan something like that here in San Pedro. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Gwen, you're up. Gwen, are you going to speak on 2 separate items?
Yeah, but I'll keep it pretty short.
Okay.
So, thank you for the roundworm thing, because I just found raccoons on my roof, and it's part of this whole thing that I'm about to talk about. So, on my street this week, very tragically, one of the most beautiful homes on West Santa Cruz ignited. It was because of a gas meter that essentially completely malfunctioned, exploded, something of that nature. It's just a reminder for public safety. Oh, and it also caught fire. The next neighbor also, it moved forward to another home. So it was 2 homes, and 2 families are without homes right now because of that. So this is a reminder, and I hope that public safety, we can take this up to really get some of that, the notifications. Maybe, we always talk about getting an event done. Maybe we can with these low budgets. But remember to check your gas meters. Check your roofs line. In my case, the raccoons actually have a ladder with the tree. And that can actually be a fuel that could ignite my home as well. So having trees too close to your home is a problem. Check vegetation, things like that. That's it for that. So the next thing was charter reform. So I don't know if anybody had has gotten the news, but there was an emergency charter reform meeting this last Thursday, because people were irate. LINC, which is one of the larger alliances in the Valley, gathered, and the charter reform people, you know that we're giving recommendations for restructuring a very antiquated set of rules that the city needs for functioning. It's the functions of the city. And the neighborhood councils are really taking a lot of effort to weigh in and give really valued recommendations as to how things should be structured. I am on the Community Forestry Advisory Committee, and there are experts there who I mean, across the field, that there are members of no less than 6 departments that join this, and they, with the Community Forestry Advisory Committee, came up with a way of overhauling an 80-year-old antiquated plan for how to landscape and care for the plants that are here. Both of those, the neighborhood councils were rejected. All of the advice, it was decided at the meeting just prior, at the charter reform, they voted to not look at neighborhood council recommendations. They voted not to move forward the recommendations by the Community Forestry Advisory Committee. Now that was endorsed by all of the organizations, LADWP, by Street Trees, by the Department of Forestry, the director, it goes on, the groups that are involved. It's so siloed. They endorsed it, and this charter reform group ignored it. They said, we're not going to pass it forward for consideration. Please, we need to, as a group and as a city and as neighborhood councils, speak as to our opinions on the not taking this advice. It's valued advice with recommendations that work.
Thank you. Our final speaker is Michael.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Oden, and I'm from the Final Step International 360 Mindset Coaching. And my goal here is to get you familiar with an organization. I'm going to begin down here in San Pedro. I spent 2 decades as a probation officer in LA County. I have over 12,000 interviews. I've gained a lot of insight on human behavior, understanding it, and what people can do with it once they understand the problem. So we're grounded in behavioral science, mental health, and real-world experience. So today I want to introduce you called a Be a Hero program, a youth development initiative designed to help young people build emotional strength, personal responsibility, and the skills they need to make healthier choices and see themselves as capable leaders in their own lives. So I'm going to give you a taste, a sample of some of the topics that we have. Like number 1, awareness and self-control. To recognize what they are feeling and why, where it comes from, so they can do something about it. Always remember, emotions are indicator lights. The emotion you are experiencing is the behavior you're going to display, and once you find out where that comes from, we have a chance to shift the behavior. The second one is accountability without shame. The program teaches youth how to take responsibility for their choices without lashing or without labeling themselves as bad or troubled. One of the worst things I've seen over the years is when you label somebody and call them a word or stigmatize them and they feel trapped. And what they're going to do is, well, if I am that, then I will do that. I've seen that thousands of times. And why this matters? Well, the youth will start seeing themselves as problems and start seeing themselves as capable of change. Another topic we'll look at is communication and conflict resolution skills. That'd be nice to have, express themselves respectfully, handle disagreements without escalation, listening before reacting. When a young person, even a human being, when they know that the person who's delivering the negative response to them, that 95% of that response is about the person delivering the message, then they can offload that, not plug in, and understand where that person is coming from. So and the big thing is they don't personalize it. That's a really big skill to have, is not to personalize somebody else's issue that you're paying for. And the fourth one, we have identity, self-worth, and positive role modeling. Youth are guided to explore who they are, what they value, and the kind of person they want to become. as you know, or you may not know, but I've seen is if you don't know where to look because you've never seen it before. Your models are people who are doing destructive behavior within the home. That's all you see. If that's all you see, then how do you know what's out there? Once you can get them to see something different, change the behavior because they're locked into survival mode, you give them a chance to do something different and be a better person and give them a chance at life. And lastly, or another one, is life skills and future orientation, where this program will help youth connect to today's choices of tomorrow's outcomes, introducing goal setting, responsibility, and resilience. I'm teaching at Compton Elementary School, and I see some of these kids who have no idea how to set a goal, the plan for just a basic study group, to work towards something for the next week. I'm even trying to get them just read 2 pages a week. Just read 2 pages. But the phones, and that's another story. So the Be a Hero program doesn't just aim to change behavior, it changes how young people see themselves. And when youth understand their emotions, take responsibility, and believe they matter, communities become safer, schools become stronger, and futures become possible. So that's the goal I'm trying to achieve, getting into group homes, maybe schools, junior highs, high schools, and give this message to the people who can hear this, who can benefit from this. So that's why I'm here, to let you know that this is where I want to go. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, I have no other comment cards, so we're going to go ahead and close out agenda item number 2 and move on to our presentation. Presentation on the John S. Gibson Boulevard parking lot project. Michael Tunney.
Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council. Thank you for having me out today. My name is Michael Tunney. I work with Howard Industrial Partners, and we are the property owners for John S. Gibson. I work on all the development entitlements for the proposed parking lot project. And, we're just happy to be here. We've taken the last year to take in a lot more community input, have a lot more community meetings. So some of you may have seen this presentation already today, but for those that you haven't, I'll follow up after this email with an email. And we also launched a project website, which will have some more presentation materials for you to actually view. But I'm just going to try to talk through it today. The John S. Gibson location, it's a strategic location, which is set directly north of the Harbor Police Station and directly south of the Harry Bridges entrance and exit of the 110. So we're right above right to our south is another entrance and exit to the 110, and right to the north is Harry S. Bridges. It's an 18-acre property with direct access to the 110 freeway, and it's in the Port Master Plan context on the heavyweight corridor. 12 acres of the 18 acres is in the Port Master Plan, and then 6 acres of the 18 acres is in the city of LA. A little backstory on the property: the 2 property owners ago acquired the piece that's in the city of LA in 2011, and then another property owner stepped in, bought that piece in 2014. And then 3 years later, the city of LA declared the other remaining 12 acres as surplus land, and that's when the whole property came together as a contiguous site, and that's when we came in and bought the property in 2017. So it's taken 8 years to get here. The first 2 years working on the project, we were in downtown in the building department working with the grading and soils engineers just to make sure that we could actually build the site because it's on a slope. So it's been challenged over the years because it's a narrow, long property along the slope. So we wanted to first engineer it, and then after we were able to get some retaining walls approved, we came back down to the harbor department, and I think it was around 2020, launched a previous project description which involved a use for the site which included container stacking. We ended up hearing the feedback of that and needed a more sound environmental document, and the port realized that the highest and best use was not that, so they relaunched the project description as a parking lot, and with the 12 acres that are in the port to be maritime support. So right now we're proposing 393 stalls as a short-term auxiliary parking lot for trucks and trucks with chassis with containers on it, but no container stacking. So it's a short-term staging lot. The current problem in the Wilmington area and neighborhoods directly adjacent to the port complex is there's really no parking for trucks. So that's resulted in a history of kind of issues of illegal kind of loading or idling, trucks circling around neighborhoods. The clearest lot is there's only one lot within 5 miles of the port complex with 15 spaces. So our lot being directly to the north of an exit, directly to the south of an exit, sandwiched between two entrances and exits, it's a really ideal site for a parking lot. It's going to help alleviate congestion and alleviate illegal parking. Directly to our east is the West Basin Container Terminal, and I mentioned directly to our south is the Ports of America commercial building and the police station. And directly to our west is the 110 freeway. And on the other side of the 110 freeway is an industrial park, and to the northwest of the property is the Phillips refinery. The closest neighborhood is to our southeast, which is 1,390 feet away in San Pedro. And then Wilmington, I believe, is 1,700 feet to our north to northeast. Another problem I have in this presentation is it's just a visual representation of trucks queuing. The photos in the presentation were taken last summer and around August in Wilmington, and that's a recurring issue for that neighborhood. The presentation will have a site plan that you can see. Again, it's a long, narrow site that will have 393 stalls. What we need from the port on our portion of the 12 acres of the 18 acres is a port master plan amendment, which would take the open space overlay and move that to maritime support. And the underlying zoning on the entire property is industrial and manufacturing, heavy manufacturing. And for the portion of land that's directly adjacent to the freeway, that is industrial. So this lot is a conforming use for the city of LA, but the harbor division and the port is the lead agency on the environmental document. Again, the existing site constraints is the grade difference, which is why the site's been vacant. If you're on John Gibson, the street grade all the way up to the freeway is very high. And the way we've designed the site is going to take multiple retaining walls. So that's been an existing site constraint. Another constraint has been the city of LA parcel has been landlocked. There is soil contamination from the previous use of oil pipelines. So there was an old petroleum use. So we have pipelines running through the property and some soil that will need to be remediated. And the site is truly best used for an industrial and logistics use. For environmental and visual kind of proposed improvements for the property, we are in our current plan is 39% landscaping. So that's over 300,000 feet. We're using California native drought-tolerant plants. We have irrigation cisterns for recycled water. And overall, the landscape plan is going to really beautify along the 110, and it will beautify along John Gibson Boulevard as well. And so it's going to have nearly a mile or 0.75 miles of beautification along the 110, and around a similar amount on John Gibson. And we have presented at multiple neighborhood councils and even the Joint Land Use Committee, and we've had some site visits. But one of the first inputs we got is really paying attention to the views from the 110 as well, and trying not to impede any of the views of the port operations, the cranes, and the containers. So the grade of the lot will be below freeway grade. And then we also took into some community input of adding a bougainvillea vine on any of our exterior perimeter metal fencing that will be around the exterior of the site. For operations and traffic, again, I mentioned it's a short-term parking lot, but it's going to be for bobtail trucks or trucks with loaded chassis. So a bobtail truck is essentially a truck without anything attached to it, or a truck would access the site with a chassis and a container on it. It would be a 24-hour secured site. These trucks are already serving port operations. And approximately on the opening year, we'd have 242 bobtails and 242 trucks with loaded chassis access the site throughout the day. We'd have 2 employees on site at all times for security and to operate on-site machinery. And the 2 employees or the equipment on site would be like a small utility tractor rig and 2 small forklifts. But we worked with the Harbor Department, engineers, Goods Movement Division. We worked with the LA Department of Transportation, and we had a traffic engineer as well. So there's essentially three engineers vetted the traffic plan on John Gibson. Our traffic analysis studied all the intersections, and no intersections are going to be impacted or impeded. And then we also worked with that same group of 3 engineers to get a new traffic signal approved for full access to the site. There's going to be a very long center median for turn pockets for accessing the site, and there's going to be a very long driveway for the ingress of trucks to make sure there's no backup of truck queuing on site. 80% of the trips on the ingress are going to be coming directly from the 110 from the north, 48%, and from the south, 32%. And for the egress, 80% of the trips will get directly back onto the freeway, 40% and 40% back onto Harry Bridges entrance or the John Gibson Pacific entrance there. And this new traffic signal will help improve the overall flow. There's some renderings, too, that really help provide a before and after will be on our project website, johngibsonparkinglot.com. But we're really paying attention with a really robust landscape plan. And we've even got some input recently of neighborhood councils to see if there's even more trees that could be planted. So normally industrial projects have 12% landscaping, 12 to 14, and the fact that ours has 39% should add a lot of greenery to what is a kind of a vacant and blighted site right now. Again, more renderings to show you the views are available from John Gibson Boulevard, but the project site is off the grade of the street, so you'll be going up a driveway. It'll be up on the top of the hill, but it'll be below the freeway grade. Existing site problems today. We've had a close relationship with the Harbor Police Department, but today the site is kind of considered unsafe. We've had a history of homeless encampments there. I've been working on this for 8 years, so I've been up to the site constantly, clearing the site out of encampments. There's two different tunnel access points to the property from under the 110, and we have done police escorted clearances of the property multiple times, but it keeps coming back. Unfortunately, there's been a couple homicides on the property. There's been 50,000 pounds of illegally trenched human waste on the property from encampments, in addition to our contaminated soil. LAPD is fully aware, but they've had historical problems with enforcement. There's a lot of calls there. They have to launch drones. Officer Lopez, it's not really safe for her to go up there by herself too, so it's been a little bit of a drain. We have presented and met with the Harbor Police Station, CPAB meetings, and Sergeant Terrazas, and the captain as well. And they're fully aware of the project, and we're just working with them on a security plan regarding any kind of high point scenarios or any exposure to their operations out of their lot in the back. But regardless of what we've done with perimeter fencing on the property, site locks get cut and the encampments keep getting reestablished. So with new perimeter fencing and on-site security 24/7, that should alleviate some of these issues. I mentioned before there's abandoned oil pipelines that run throughout the property, so those will get removed and remediated. And then I already mentioned the zoning as well. We have 4 parcels, 1 parcel's in the city of LA. The other 3 that are along John Gibson are in the Port Master Plan complex. So, and I already mentioned the sensitive receptor. So from the project benefits, from the community perspective, we're proposing a dedicated truck and trailer parking facility that reduces street congestion, idling, and illegal on-street parking in surrounding neighborhoods. We'll provide adequate on-site queuing. We're going to improve safety and security. And from an environmental perspective, the removal of the contaminated on-site conditions, 39% landscaping, and we're going to help reduce emissions in the port, not only by reducing drive times and by truck circling, but having a strategic lot that's located in the port complex is going to reduce those impacts and drive times for drivers that are arriving early and staging for calls for empties. I already mentioned we're not going to impact views of the port from the 110, and we're going to definitely it'll be a major beautification for our property from the 110 and from John Gibson. And then we're working on electrified stations as well with a local environmental justice group to help reduce emissions from our project and help with electrification efforts within the Port Master Plan complex. From a jobs perspective, the project will service 398 permanent jobs and 210 union construction jobs. We're well aligned with all of the local unions. The project will be union built and union maintained. And we do have a PLA with the LA and OC building and construction trades, which will advocate for local hire and will also advocate for veterans hire. For community support, we have a letter of support from the San Pedro Chamber of Commerce, a letter of support from the Wilmington Chamber of Commerce, the LA and OC building and construction trades, the Teamsters Local Union 848, the West Basin Container Terminal, who's our neighbor to our east directly, and Ports America. And West Basin even asked, is there any way that you guys could open this lot in time for the bridge closer, to help, because they think it's really going to help overall with congestion on John Gibson. I mentioned some of our community engagements. We heard the direct feedback we got was getting out into the community more, and some of the feedback we got from the community is some projects come in and they get approved and they go away. And so some of the feedback we got is, can you have annual commitments, for past year one, what can you do annually? So we created an annual partnership with the Boys and Girls Club of Wilmington to fund their career-bound and college-bound programs with specific funding for those programs. We are committed to an electrification plan with a Wilmington Environmental Justice Organization, which I mentioned before, and having some of their community leaders, involved on emission reduction plan. We're committed to an annual sponsorship of the Banning High School football program. We will continue annual memberships with the San Pedro Chamber of Commerce and the Wilmington Chamber of Commerce, as well as quarterly project updates to all the local neighborhood councils with progress moving forward and having a touch point, and launching our project website as well. And then I already mentioned that we have a project labor agreement with the local unions with local hire focus. Upcoming meetings and hearings, we did have a community outreach event the other weekend at the Wilmington Boys and Girls Club. We're happy to be here tonight, so thanks again for your time. And then we have an informational hearing this Thursday at the Harbor Board of Commissioners, which will be a public hearing for the Port Master Plan Amendment overview, as well as a property owner presentation of what we're proposing, but it's not an action, and they're not taking a vote on the 12th. And then we'll be looking to get in front of the Wilmington Neighborhood Council on the 24th. And again, our website is johngibsonparkinglot.com. It's pretty minimal, but I'm going to upload the most recent presentation to there to have those materials so you can kind of get a look at the renderings. It's a lot better once you can see the renderings. But thank you guys for your time today, and I'm available for any questions right now if that's how this works. Or
Yeah, we'll have a couple questions.
Okay.
Appreciate you being here. Thank you. I'll ask maybe a first question or two. 24-hour operation is what I'm understanding, right?
Yes.
And will the trucks be allowed to idle while they're on that property?
No, there'll be idling restrictions when they're on our property.
Okay, so they will not be idling, which is great. The big concern would be and I think I shared this with you, the Phillips 66 project, and when it's built out, and then on top of that, there's going to be a lot of truck traffic coming off of that when it's built out, off of the old, when they do their warehouse operations up on the major portion of the property. But even as they are going to be remediating a lot of the soil and everything, there's anticipated lots of truck traffic going to be removing and bringing in dirt and all that. So I'm wondering, you did a presentation to DOT. I'm wondering if there's any possibility, or have you considered maybe doing a presentation to DOT Commission so that the Commission is aware, and if there's going to be some type of plan so that when traffic does become a little bit difficult to endure, we're going to have DOT traffic enforcement officers there, or traffic officers, so that we can help move traffic in and out of there, because as it is even today, traffic is horrible in through that corridor, Gaffey, Channel Street, into Wilmington, and so on and so forth. So it seems like I'm just kind of looking at the future, what that might look like, and hopefully there's communication with DOT and also the other aspects of community, like neighborhood councils, and I'm glad that you're going to be continuing the information. So I just want to maybe put that on your radar.
Okay.
Perhaps maybe there's something that can happen to work with the DOT Commission. And that's the extent of my question. So I'll, if you have a question around the table, pick out your most important question. We're running really into a time constraint here. So I'm going to start with Melanie. I see Gwen, Kane. Go ahead.
So on the back of what Ray was saying, my concern was because of both things going on, a coordinated effort between the Phillips 66 removal of environmental hazard product as well as your removal of product. That's a lot of removal of product, and the safety concerns of that. There are neighborhoods that are adjacent right there on North Gaffey area that, as far as if they start using North Gaffey to come through, that's the air, and displacing all of that through the community is a big concern for environmental reasons. Mm-hmm. The other question I had for you was that, is there any possibility or any looking at, you having all these stalls for the trucks, about having charging stations, since they're going to try and go to electric on all these vehicles, to have charging stations there, as well as the ones that haven't had the upgrade yet, a fueling station, because that is a big concern. We finally, thank you, Drew, gotten rid of the trucks that were hanging out in the taper area and using that small little gas station and causing problems. And we've been able to get that, but one of the biggest concerns that was feedback was there's no place in San Pedro for the trucks to get gas, and this was the little like secret place that they were going to go get gas, but it was impacting the community and the neighbors there in the taper area. And so we got that taken care of. SoCal Gas was very good about putting barriers up and all of that, and they're not allowed in there anymore. But they need somewhere to go. And so that's a concern of making, you know, where they have a place to go to fuel, have a place to charge, have a place to park, and not parking in the neighborhoods.
Well, we're definitely taking on the charging stations topic to your question or comment there. We will be, applying for multiple different grants with the DJ group to see that through. So as far as a fueling station, one is not planned, but that could be something that could be potentially considered. But for now, we're really trying to help with the leading, with emissions reduction side. Because the biggest concern of Wilmington is air quality, and if we can help at least with the fleet that would be accessing our property to provide as many of those charging stations as possible. And they've recently updated the standards where essentially it takes a lot more juice now to fill up the trucks faster. And there is a fueling site in Long Beach, kind of like on the far side that is services bobtails. But we could potentially bring something like that to life there. But wouldn't rule out anything else on that. But we don't have any traditional fueling stations planned at this time.
Okay.
Gwen?
The way you describe it, it sounds a lot like across our nation, and definitely across California, the truck stops that have those long driveways, and you go in, they have the time to stay and then keep on going. But I didn't hear anything about restrooms or anything like that. And Bougainvillea happens to be an extremely sheddy plant. I don't know if you could talk about the care of the plants. Now, Bougainvillea, again, when the Santa Ana start picking up, it just scatters everywhere. So if you have any alternatives for vegetation.
We're open to alternatives. I think the main message was let's make sure it looks nice on the 110. And so that was something that was proposed that we could attach to our steel fence that is along the perimeter. But that's good feedback too. If that's going to create a mess, we don't want to.
The longer, I assume it's going to be a very long length. The more mass, the more you got to be careful with that. This is so promising. I believe as a spot. I am hoping that this is replicated in other areas farther away, so that it takes the pressure off of this particular site, because it could be very complicated if this ends up being the only thing. So I'm hoping that the ports and other entities will consider replicating this in other areas all the way up the 605 corridor, 710 corridor, and continue on with that, because I could see this actually becoming too popular, and with the volume. So hopefully it can be continued.
Thank you, Gwen.
Thank you.
King.
My question is with the remediation. Could you just educate us on the process for those who may not be familiar with remediation of the soil?
Well, it's definitely not on the scale and scope of Phillips 66. There was just specific areas. We had to run a phase 1 environmental site assessment, and that identified via soil sampling certain areas where our abandoned oil pipelines had some leakage. So I'd have to get back to you on the exact amount of cubic yards that are getting that are in that report that would be getting pulled out, but essentially they would, take those, put those in a truck, and have a few different trucks leaving, filled up and leaving the site in a controlled manner. That would also have a traffic management plan associated with it, and there'd be, if there's any dust control mitigation and things like that, but. Overall, we don't have a lot of export coming out of the site, but that's some of the export that will be have to get remediated. But it's not like we have to cut into the entire hill and take the whole hillside out. I don't want to over exaggerate the issue of remediation, but there's some that has to happen. But I could happy to share that report with you, which will identify how much dirt needs to get moved out.
Christina.
I think another concern that might be raised is that we have the 3 big projects, Phillips 66 and the bridge and this, and with all the remediation and potential air quality issues, are all projects, is there a lead working together so that we have somebody that's monitoring air quality and continually presenting air quality in our area, because that is a big concern.
One of the Wilmington groups we met with had a similar question about if there's ways that we can do enhanced monitoring at our site, which we're open to. But again, we're right next to the freeway. But as far as our project timelines versus Phillips 66, I can't really speak on behalf of their project, but I think they have quite a ways to go in terms of their environmental document and processing of their entitlements. So I think we'd be we're more on a shorter time frame where we could get going on this rather soon, and I'd have to talk with them on where they're at in their process. But yes, I think we are talking to similar people in the neighborhoods of Wilmington and San Pedro. So, and we have spoke with them before, their property owners and the developers behind that.
Did you talk about restroom facilities?
Maybe I didn't address that. It's not going to be a truck stop, so there's not going to be overnight parking where they'll be sleeping in their cab like a traditional truck stop. It's more about efficiency of staging, getting in and out with a bobtail or with a chassis in a truck. Although that we've had a lot of comments of people saying, "Oh, that sounds would be really nice for the independent trucker community or a fleet of truckers of having a place to sleep." That's not the current design or what we're proposing. But there will be facilities for them to use. But it's not going to be a truck stop per se.
No, but there will be restrooms in case of emergency, because one
of
the problems is discarded 5-gallon bottles filled with
No, yes, there will be those available for anyone that needs to use the restroom on the site, as well as trash, as well as on-site staff.
Okay, okay, John?
I just got a quick one. I mean, we all know this fall the Vincent Thomas Bridge is closing.
Yes.
For, 16 months. It doesn't open until the 28th. So what's the effect of this? Because that's one of their routes is John Gibson.
Well, we still have to go through a little rigmarole with the Coastal Commission timing-wise. So anyone, if we could get this open in time while that's closed, we're just not going to be able to do it. We've had a lot of requests. Could you speed this up? But we won't be impacting any of those operations. If anything, if we could get the site open, it could be a laydown yard for the bridge to make it more efficient as we work through our final permits with the Coastal Commission. So we're open to helping in that process, not impeding. If anything, if we were wizards, we'd build it in time, and then that could help alleviate the flow and impacts of that project, because we're going to need a lot more bandwidth on this side.
Okay, I think that takes care of the questions from around the table. I do have a comment card from Pat and Abe.
Good evening, Pat and Abe. I'm a stakeholder, member of the Land Use Committee and Port Committee. I'm going to start off by thanking you for all your nice comments you made about Diana and I. Probably is because the word is out that we're moving to San Diego. I want to tell you we're going to be around for another month or two, and so I expect your comments in the future are going to be like, "You're still here?" Speaking of still here, I mean, this is kind of a new board, always new people every year, and already your board has taken 2 written positions in opposition to this project, one when the notice of preparation came out, and one when the DEIR came out. Almost a year ago today, it was February the 10th of 2025. That objection, that opposition incorporated in its entirety the January of 2025 opposition of the Wilmington Neighborhood Council. There's really a very detailed 20-page opposition to it. I would commend it to you. You incorporated it by reference in your February opposition to this project, and would hope that in keeping with past policy that this board would give great deference to those other neighborhood councils which are affected, and Wilmington is probably affected even more than San Pedro. What was the opposition to it a year ago and then a year before that as well? Well, one of them great oppositions to it is the traffic generated for it. So even today, even though they've changed the use slightly, they're still contemplating and assessing the impact of 1,794 truck trips per day. You know, a standard big truck like that with the chassis and with the truck itself and everything is 75 feet. And if you put them end to end, that's over 25 miles in length for that line of trucks. If you use a 60-foot length, it's over 20 miles in length. Some of the other problems with the environmental work has been done in the analysis is that they really haven't considered the impact on the neighborhood. So, for example, there's no impact analyzed for Channel and Gaffey. That's kind of a big intersection in our neighborhood. They haven't considered them all along Bridges Boulevard as they should have, and I think Gibson and Channel are missing from it also. And I think somebody raised the question about how do you meld this with the impact of the Phillips property, and you are supposed to, even if it hasn't been set in concrete yet. It's well known that Phillips is looking at coming down the hill and are going to build a tunnel underneath the freeway and empty their traffic from the warehouses and stuff on top of the hill out onto Gibson Boulevard. So that needs to be considered. I could go on about other things that are important in the EIR, but that's too much legal walk stuff, which is, of course, my background. But I want to talk mostly about the 2 policy issues that are inherent in this proposal. The first is that We need to draw a line, and it's been a policy for some years that the port stays out of the neighborhoods. That's why you see Wilmington Waterfront Park along bridges. All of that property where the park is owned by the port, but they knew that they were not going to be able to build port-related kind of uses on that 45 acres, so they made it as a park. And this property is included in the Port Master Plan as open space. In addition, you may recall that our councilman got the council to pass a control ordinance that said no truck-related uses north of bridges or east of Western Avenue. And one of the parcels in this property that's owned there is within that control ordinance area, so that no truck-related uses would be permitted. The other policy that I think that we should insist on as a community is that, look, port, if you want to have port-related uses for port operations, fine. Build it on your own property. And in fact, right now, the port is considering, as an active project out there for consideration, for 100 acres on Terminal Island for a chassis repair facility and a chassis storage facility. And that's what should happen here. This project first came along as a chassis, or as a container storage idea back in the post-COVID area. You may remember what a mess it was trying to find places to put containers and what the backlog was, and just even getting containers coming in off of ships to Chicago and to Houston and to New York across the docks and everything. Well, the port addressed that and got that use down, and the applicant here changed it to a chassis storage related and a truck waiting time stuff. And that has been a problem that the port has addressed over a period of time over the years, and they're doing it now with the 100-acre spot on Terminal Island. One of the reasons I think that we really should consider it, really insist on it this time, is because look at a couple of years down the road when the Defense Fuel Supply Center finally gets surplus, and some of you have been working on this with the Port Committee and with others, trying to get the Navy to be open with us about what they're planning to do with that nice big flat area up there on Gaffey Street. And they're looking at container parking and container storage place on that, just to ruin our community, I guess, just out of the goodness of their heart or something. But we're going to have to be fighting this battle on other parcels, and it's going to be a lot harder if we don't fight it and take care of it from the get-go. We're going to have it with the Rancho site when Phillips finishes buying that and surpluses that and clears those things off there. We're going to have that battle. We're going to have a battle with respect to where the rail lines are now along the flood control channel by the foot of Field of Dreams, so forth. So hopefully we can make clear now what the relationship should be between our neighborhoods and the port on matters such as this. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Any other comments from the audience? Questions? Okay. Michael, thank you for the time. Thank you for the presentation. Apologies, we didn't get a projector for you all up front. I think our neighborhood council is going to be really looking forward to the periodic reports. I will ask that our port committee, our environmental committee, and planning and land use really take a close look and with many of the analysis that came from Mr. Nave and others, that we may have some additional comments and so on. So appreciate your time. Thank you for being here with us today. And with that, we're going to go ahead and close out this agenda item. Thank you. We're going to go on to agenda item number 4, homelessness liaison report. We do not have a report this time around, so we're going to go ahead and bypass that and move on to agenda item number 5, elected governmental and public safety representatives. I'm going to just kind of go along and ask in order as I seen them. So, Jocelyn, I saw you. Drew, you're coming up next, and Augie, we're gonna start with the mayor's office, CD15, and then you're next.
All right. Good evening, board members. Jocelyn Dominguez with the Office of Mayor Karen Bass. I do have just a few updates for this evening. First, I just want to start by saying thank you. We had a really good turnout at the annual pick count or point-in-time count last month. I know quite a few of you were actually there volunteering, so I just want to give a huge thank you to the board, this neighborhood council, for your participation and support. I know some of you did some tracks, came back and did additional ones, so super thankful for you. We were able to close out the night with finishing all tracks, so LASA didn't have to come back and cover any for us. So just want to thank you for your support on that. And then, of course, it does take them, a couple months or so to kind of get back to us with the numbers. But as soon as I get those, and I know Lori, she's on it as well, so we'll make sure to get you those as soon as they come out. And then I also just wanted to share that last week we did have probably one of the most important events that we'll have this year so far is the State of the City address that the mayor gave over at the Exposition Park. I just want to say thank you to Ray for coming down and attending on behalf of the Transportation Commission, but also the Neighborhood Council and representing San Pedro, of course. But the mayor was clear in her message during her speech that it is about unifying a celebration of Los Angeles, because we know what's coming starting this summer and the next couple years to come. And we know that when people across the world come here, they're not just going to come here for the venues, but they will also get to see our values and our diversity and our pride. During the speech, we also used it to announce that the city will be hosting free and accessible community celebrations in our public parks. So we actually had kind of a stage setup of it in front of the building where we had a huge screen where people were able to watch the speech live. We had food vendors out there. We had activities for the kids, different sports activities for them to do. So that's kind of the setup that we're going for. But really excited for that, and then more to come on the activation sites as we get ready for the FIFA World Cup. There'll be an announcement coming soon on that. And also related to State of the City, as many of you may know, typically the State of the City is actually done in April, just before the mayor releases her proposed budget for the city. So we are still doing that. So there will be a round 2 coming up, so stay tuned for that. And I also just want to use that as a reminder for the board, if you do want to submit a community impact statement on the budget or want to give any feedback or anything like that. Now's the perfect time to do it as we get closer to budget season. And of course, feel free to always loop me into that just so I make sure the right people in our office get that communication. And then also shortly after the State of the City address, the mayor did renew her commitment with her initiative, Housing Our Vets. This is something that she launched shortly after getting into office, and so far we have been able to house 600 veterans thanks to this initiative. We've been working very closely with HACLA to kind of speed up the process that our veterans have to go through, making sure we're getting them those housing vouchers. And HACLA is actively leveraging the HUD-approved waivers that the mayor secured to speed up that process. And we're also asking property owners to please accept vouchers to help us house our veterans. So that was another call out that she made during her renewed commitment for that initiative. And also just wanted to let you know we will be back with Shine LA here in our district. We will actually be in Harbor City at the Harbor City Rec Center on February 28th. I will share out the announcement tomorrow to everyone so you have it, but please, if you want to come out and volunteer or just get involved, we will be revamping the rec center. We will be painting some benches, some boxes in the baseball fields, planting some trees, hopefully even kind of giving the rec center outside kind of a facelift as well. But just want to get folks involved in their community, beautifying their community, and just building that civic pride all across our city. But those are my announcements, unless there's any questions. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the most important one. Many of you, and somebody may touch on this later, but just wanted to let you know, I know the announcement came out last week that the West Harbor was announced as the fan zone for the FIFA World Cup. Yes, very exciting. And just wanted to let you know, our office is working very closely with the West Harbor, very closely with the council office to make sure that we are set and ready for that, for the World Cup. So just wanted to address that as well, because I know there's been some concerns. But yeah, those are all of my updates.
Okay, thank you. So I see hand up by Melanie. Anyone else?
Yeah, when I was doing my EMD report and stuff, one of the things that came up for budget advocates when I was doing it, talking with them, is there was still some, like with FIFA World Cup and with the Olympics and all of that, there was some willy-nilly kind of going on whether or not with security and having adequate security and having adequate personnel and adequate people that know what they're doing coming in from other parts to kind of like subcontract in and things like that. Where are we at with that? Because as we're getting closer to FIFA, also, I'm concerned about West Harbor. Even though it's a viewing thing, the port could be a target, too, for security concerns and all that. We really, really need to zone in on that because with the element that we've got going on in our political agendas and all of this going on right now, and I think that it's really security is a major, major, major focus that the mayor needs to tone in on right now for these events and for West Harbor, for the stadium, with the coming Olympics, all of that, to have these major events coming in, security is going to be the forefront that we're going to need to have.
No, thank you for raising that, and I will try to give you as short of an answer as possible because it's kind of long. But basically, I can't speak directly to like a direct update, but I can share what we've been doing in preparation for that. So the mayor actually started the Office of Major Events within the mayor's office. Former council member Paul Kerkorian is the executive director of it. So we've actually started to staff up that office, and one personnel person a couple are onboarding, but they will be responsible for making sure that we have that emergency preparedness, making sure we have a emergency public safety plan in place as we get ready for those major events. And then also the mayor did make it clear to our city council members that we need to be prepared and we need to have the sufficient amount of officers in our LAPD department in order to be ready for these major events. So she did make an ask of the city council to approve a budget in order for us to hire additional officers. Unfortunately, they did not approve that. They did approve some money, but not the full amount that we were hoping for, given that we do anticipate some officers to go into retirement at the end of this year. But the mayor remains committed and open to collaborating with our council and our city council to get that budget approved so that we can have sufficient officers.
One of the things that was brought up in the meeting was that the idea that the possibility where there's a budgetary concern, for now to expand it for lifelong, that to outside sources like from Colorado experts on security or wherever, other places, to contract them in temporarily for the events, so that they come in temporarily for the events. So it's not like a big budget-like thing lifelong. It's a temporary budget fix for the situation. Have they talked about that, doing something like that? Because that would be a fix to the city council passing like a big budget, would be to have something that's temporary, like just, as a contract type thing to come in temporarily for 2 weeks and pay them.
Yeah. I'm not sure, but I can definitely inquire and see if that's something that's been mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
you for raising that.
Chris.
Real briefly, and aside from the more logistical and background stuff about these upcoming events, I want to say that it's something I've actually had an opportunity to ask the mayor directly about in the past, but I appreciate, and I think a lot of people do and will appreciate, these efforts to make these events accessible to the average person, especially with the World Cup in the near future, but also with the Olympics. A lot of working Angelinos will not be able to afford to attend these, even if they could get time off of work, so that whatever the city can do in partnership, with the county, with public-private partnerships, to make sure that there's some aspect of these things that people who are working a 9 to 5 and can't afford like $6,000 World Cup tickets will have some aspect of that experience that they can, hold on to besides TV.
Yes.
It's very much appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? None from around the table, from the audience? I see no hands. Jocelyn, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, Thomas?
Two requests, or one question and request. So thank you for the report. Just hope you'll stress to the mayor's office the tremendous value of the neighborhood councils. Right as there's a budget ask, we're asked for a pretty substantial cut for a group of people who volunteer. I think several times the value of what's spent to neighborhood councils, worth of expertise and help that will save the city money in the long run. And then a question I get asked a lot, going back to. It's an article from June, but I haven't seen an update on part of the car-free plan of the mayor requires a grant from the president for, I think, 100 million in electric buses. Is there an update on that? Because I think many people think it's not very likely the president's going to give LA any electric buses. Like he might give us a tank before we get an electric bus, and that, given where the city budget is, causing some folks in my campus, Dominguez Hills, is doing a lot of planning. Any planned changes to kind of right size in light of anticipated federal monies? We've seen the port was reliant on some of these subsidies that we were expecting under Biden. So any comment, or could you come back to the neighborhood council with thoughts on that concern?
Yeah, I can definitely come back on that. I know that's been a real concern of the office. I can say that I know last year we did have an agreement that was made with another city where they did say that they would lend us some buses. So I know we are looking at other options, but I can probably provide you a better update at the next meeting.
Like a pretty big gift from a city.
Yeah. Yeah, thank
Gwen,
you.
quick question, because we got to move on.
Well, to piggyback on that, I do hope that we can find out what the contributions of the state to the city, if there's any county contributions as well as federal. Yeah, I was kind of concerned about what might have been thought of as promises on the federal.
Specific to funding, or
contributions to funding or in kind. Like I would assume that the state might be more amenable to some kind of public transportation aspect. Yeah, that kind of thing. It'd be great to hear.
Okay.
The involvement.
I think that's it. Dustin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
From CD, the big 1-5. Drew?
Hello, all. I have a very short update. There will be daytime single-lane closures of the Vincent Thomas Bridge on Thursday, February 12th for pothole repairs and finger joint monitoring following the recent storms. It is scheduled between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m., and the closure will affect the southbound right-hand lane from Ferry Street to Harbor Boulevard. Due to inclement weather, the closure is subject to change. And we do have some council files that will be heard tomorrow in City Council. Council File 25-1285 will be heard tomorrow relative to a report on a framework for supporting air quality and environmental legislation at the port that maintains operations and protects jobs. Council File 26-1100-S will be heard tomorrow regarding a communication from the City Attorney, an ordinance first consideration, and a ballot resolution relative to a ballot measure regarding cannabis business taxes and applying the taxes to unlicensed cannabis businesses. Council File 25-0712, motion introduced by Councilmember McOsker relative to the planned full closure of the Vincent Thomas Bridge by the California Department of Transportation, aka Caltrans, for seismic retrofit and maintenance work, and camera coverage of detour routes to monitor traffic conditions, enforce truck routes, and ensure public safety. Furthermore, Council tomorrow will be adjourned in memory of Howard Euler, who passed away last week. He used to be the director of Toberman Neighborhood Center. And also, Yolanda Regalado was appointed to the Board of Fire Commissioners for the term ending June 30th, 2029. The mayor just issued her letter on February 5th. And 2 more events this week. There will be a ribbon cutting on Thursday at 5 p.m. for Kahila Early Learning Center, which is a new preschool that will be at Tumble Beth El. And then on Saturday at 10 a.m., Absolute Best Wellness Center at 643 West 6th Street between Gaffey and Grand is celebrating their 20-year anniversary. That's all I have for you today.
Thank you for sharing that information about the appointment.
Wasn't sure you knew about it.
Yeah, the whole neighborhood council's invited to the swearing in or when that happens. Question,
just real quickly, to clarify, it's only the southbound lanes that will be closed on Thursday?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, wait, it was just one, right?
Oh, also the on-ramp onto the 47 is reopened from Gaffey if you haven't seen it yet. But the on-ramp to the 47 from Harbor Boulevard is currently closed.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the 110 has reopened from Harbor Boulevard.
That should be a mess for a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway. I don't have anything else.
Okay. Any other? Adrian.
Yes, I wanted to just briefly talk about the cannabis tax.
Yep.
Is there a percentage to that, or is it just a communication from the city attorney?
So it's going to be an ordinance that'll go to the ballot. That's the goal.
Yeah, because, and then again, it's just my concern. Obviously, we've had these conversations.
So what I'll do is maybe I'll just give this to you. This is the proposed ordinance.
Okay, yeah. I mean, again, it's just my concern with these unlicensed. My concern is more with the commission, the cannabis regulation, who are approving these licenses, right? I mean, they're approving licenses, or they're approving licenses that are not sufficient with ordinances already. Or they're not
Essentially, what it'll do is, like, the hope is that they shut down these illegal businesses, but in the meantime, they will get taxed like legal cannabis businesses.
Yeah.
So it's like you're going to do the business, whether or not you're legal, until you get shut down, we're still going to collect these exorbitant taxes from you, right? Oh. So you shouldn't get to skirt the taxes just because you're operating illegally.
I'm just concerned of the commission that's not doing their jobs or anything.
All right, well, we can talk about that later. Anything else?
Okay. Any other questions from around the table? I see no hands. Anyone? Any questions from the audience? Diana.
Not a question, just a comment on Howard Euler. Not only was the executive director of Toberman, but he was a past president of the Central Neighborhood Council.
Oh, I did not know that. Howard Euler was past president of the Central. Yes. He was the first president of the Central San Pedro Neighborhood Council.
Thank you, Diana, for letting us know.
His funeral will be on Wednesday at 11:30 at Green Hills, if anybody wants to go.
Thursday.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Drew. Augie.
Good evening, everyone. Augie Bezmalinovich from the Port of Los Angeles. I'm saddened to learn about Howard Euler, a former neighbor of mine. Nice guy, really good guy, down at Toberman House. Anyway, the next Board of Harbor Commission meetings, we have one this Thursday, February 12th, followed by a meeting on Thursday, February 26th, both at 10 a.m. And they are both live at Banning's Landing, at the base of Avalon Boulevard there in the beautiful Wilmington waterfront. North Gaffey Street beautification, phase 2. So phase 1 is directly across the street from Target. Phase 2 will go on from Catone Avenue, going south behind the businesses there through the Caltrans lot, and it'll connect everything up nice, and you could get to the waterfront all the way from Westmont down. The work continues, and the Caltrans parking lot will be closed on Monday, February 23rd for about a month. They're gonna strip that parking lot. They're gonna put a walking path there through the parking lot, and also restripe it and stuff. The skate park will still be open during that time, and it'll be accessible. There just won't be any parking there within the parking lot. So I'll go down there. I've already let John Bakakis know about it, and the rest of the businesses down there, let them be aware about that. The SR-47 on and off ramp project. So the new on and off ramps are open now right off of Front Street. So they're closer to Knoll Hill. They used to be closer to the bridge. They opened a couple of weeks ago. So for those enormous amounts of cars that drive northbound on Pacific in the morning to get to the freeway, Harbor Boulevard's back open. So go down Harbor Boulevard and get on the off-ramp there. Let's spread that traffic around a little bit. The Knoll Hill Road has changed directions. So now you're going to go up what used to be the downway and down what used to be the upway. You'll figure it out. It's very simple, very easy. And also Front Street has reopened to two ways in both directions. So that's all proceeding. That's all the good news. So the bad news is we're working on the south end of that project, and the on and off ramps like Harbor Boulevard off ramp has closed over there, and also getting onto the bridge there at Harbor Boulevard is closed. The project should be complete November this year, which is good news. The bad news is the bridge is going to close right around November of this year, so the timing was kind of odd. The state of the port. How many people saw the state of the port? Know what the state of the port is? It's the 11th annual State of the Port was held on Thursday, January 22nd. No worries if you haven't seen it. Go online. It's a pretty good. It's a really good. What's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, Gene Soroka, our executive director, did a presentation on the state of the port. Really well done, about 45 minutes. And you could go online, www.portoflosangeles.org, and take a look at it. Our 12th annual Lunar New Year's event will be held on Saturday, February 21st from 3 to 7. It's going to be held down at Crafted. And instead of fireworks this year, we're going to do a drone show. So they're going to be launched off of 22nd Street. There are also going to be some fireworks. So a little bit of both, going on there. And then finally, I'd like to report on the scouting camp. Before I do, how many people are aware of the scouting camp? Know where it's at? Okay, so some people don't know where it's at. How many people have been to that scouting camp? Okay, about half. So you know where it's at. It's on Shoshone Road down there. The Port of Los Angeles served the scouts a notice of vacate, and which they did at the end of the year. They vacated the camp. So right now we're going to use that camp, and we need that camp for a sailing training facility for the upcoming Olympics. There's a nonprofit named Pathway to Podium, P2P for short, is a new nonprofit that will be taking over the responsibilities of the site until the end of the Olympics. So they will be accommodating the current users, including the Scouts, Dragon Boat folks, Holy Trinity, Mary Star swim teams, SP outriggers, etc. All the folks that have been using that camp, the P2P will accommodate them moving forward. And they also have a separate advisory board, and there's a couple of locals on there. I know that Jack Barrich is on there. Mike Lansing's on that advisory board. The councilman wanted to make sure that we were strong in that aspect, that we had locals that knew the youth and things like that, and we'll fight for our youth here in town. And their responsibility will be managing the sailing facilities, but also accommodate the community needs. So when the Olympics are over, we plan to go out with an RFP during the Olympics and hopefully select another entity to run that camp after the Olympics are over. And the whole strategy behind that is to make that camp open to the entire community and the youth here in San Pedro and the local harbor area. So we want to open that camp up a little bit more than it has been in the past. And the scouts are welcome to reply to the RFP. They're welcome to team up with other entities, perhaps, and maybe there'll be a multi-entity that goes back there and run that camp after the Olympics. So with that, I know Lori isn't here, but she had strong opinions on the scout camp. And we did go to the 2 neighborhood councils last month, and Lori did have some questions, and they were answered by Mike Galvin at Coastal Neighborhood Council last month. And with that, that concludes my report, unless there's any questions.
Okay, it looks like we have a couple of hands up. And by the way, I just got a call from Lori. She wants to talk to you.
She knows where to find me.
I'm kidding. I'm just going to start. Chris, I saw your hand. No? Okay, let's go with Melanie, and then we'll go up that way.
Yeah, I kind of echo a lot of Lori's sentiments quite a bit, only because I just think there should have been more community outreach specific to the scout camp. Before anything was done. I just don't like the idea that they were on a month-to-month for so long. They should have been given more improvements would have been done to the place if they wouldn't have been on a month-to-month. They would have been more willing to invest more money in the improvements if they weren't. My biggest concern is, and I've stated this before to others that have been here, like Lee last month, is this, I'm well aware of who's on the nonprofit. I've researched them. I know who they are. They're from the LA Yacht Club and from the Cabrillo Yacht Club, and they combine together. Some of the big players from both. My biggest concern is that this turns into, after the Olympics is all said and done, some elite sailing club down there.
That's not the intent.
For the elites.
Yeah, that's not the intent.
Oh, we'll give a little scholarship to the little poor kids every month, every so often.
And I doubt that the councilman would ever allow that. That is not the intent.
I'm just stating, though, that is a big concern in the community.
Okay, good. Well, let's put that. You heard it from me, and let's put that rumor to rest. That will never happen. I'll guarantee you, the councilman won't let that happen.
Because Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Scouting has always been something that is available to a child, whether they live in Rancho, or a child, whether they're black or they're poor or they're Hispanic or what they are. Yes. No matter what economic place they come from, they participate. And so the biggest concern is that is where this goes again, is to make sure that every child, no matter what their ethnic or their economic, that they participate and have the ability to.
One opportunity to respond.
I learned that lesson before.
No, but that won't happen. She's gonna say exactly what I just said, right?
Councilman will not let that happen. So I really want you, I know that is something that the community says over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But when it's repeated over and over, all it does is create anxiety, stress, things that are based off of a reality that exists in minds and not on paper or in reality or in the future plans for that site. So it's just, I really hope that the community can internalize it, the words that Augie said, together with the stance of the councilman and our position. It will be open to even more community members and more children than it has been in the past, including for the Scouts, including that the Scouts can come back and use it. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's truly the intent.
Adrian?
Yeah. Wow, conversation was so good. He brought CD15 back. Just 2 questions. First one regarding the Front Street. When you're going, I think it's north, when you're going towards Harbor Boulevard and you're driving on the side of Knoll Hill, is there going to be a sidewalk right there.
So when you're going south on Front Street, you're going from Pacific, you make a left turn and you're heading south on Front Street.
Correct.
And you're coming into San Pedro.
Yeah, you're going towards the
On the left-hand side, there is sidewalk, curb and gutter. On the right-hand side, the sidewalk starts at the entrance of Knoll Hill with a big crosswalk that will allow you to cross the street. If you want to walk, you need to cross the street and go on the east side to walk. So there is curb and gutter, but not a sidewalk against the hill of Knoll Hill. And there was a lot of concern, the integrity of that hill, digging into it and stuff like that. And we thought there was minimum, we went through this for 25 years. I think this plan is like 25 years.
No, I believe you.
Yeah. And we knew the traffic, as far as pedestrian traffic, we felt that one side was good enough. So if you have to cross the street right there, we made the crosswalk really well. So if you want to walk on Front Street, you're going to have to walk on the China shipping side to make it to Pacific.
Yeah, no, I do walk it very often. It's very beautiful now that all the construction is. I just want to ask that. My second question is back to the P2P. You said that it would go towards is that their lease? Do they have an established lease with the port that says they're going to be there until the Olympic ends?
You know, I'm told, I was talking to Galvin, I don't know the real specifics, but I was talking to Mike today, and they haven't taken over the site. I believe he's thinking that by May they'll take over the site. I don't know what the reasoning, but yes, they'll be out of there. When the Olympics are done, they are out of there.
But
yes.
But they won't have like a month to month. They will. I mean, I'm asking whether.
Yeah, it's a month to month. Yeah, they'll have a revocable permit that's a monthly. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Gwen.
So
that's my understanding.
So regarding the P2P and the advisory board, is the advisory board going to be bringing all sorts of ideas to enhance the Olympics, things that are community driven that would be exciting, maybe even to see nationally?
The P2P committee?
Board. Yeah, the advisory.
They're just going to be running that site for the sailors to use as a practice facility.
Oh, okay. So,
yes.
So there really is no. There's no. Well, why would the youth be? Why would you have two members of our own community on the advisory board?
The site's big enough. The site's big enough to accommodate the Boy Scouts if they want to spend the weekend there for camping. If Mary Star and Holy Trinity swim teams want to use the pool, they'll be able to use the pool. If the Girl Scouts need to have a meeting there or something, the site's big enough, and they're going to accommodate those actions as the sailing and as a sailing facility also.
And so perhaps the Native American community, if there was happened to be an event where maybe Pacific Islanders want to meet with,
sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely.
So would it be the advisory committee that they go to?
Oh, I would approach P2P in May, and then they'll take it over from then.
All right.
Yes.
King? King. Thomas was next. Then you have a question also?
Mine's is quick.
Sure.
Will there be an executive director for P2P?
Yes, there is an executive director. Yes, there is. Yeah. Kelly, I think Kelly Marine is the executive director, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Augie, for clearing up a lot of misinformation. Thank you, Drew. So we're not stirring people up. And my understanding from an article in December is that the port's going to be investing about $5 million of PIP to get this up and running. So there's a significant message. So that seems like it should be enough to make it go. Glad to hear that the new group is under the same rules as the month-to-month, because that was an area of concern. And really glad to hear the commitment from you and the council member's office that we can now tell our stakeholders, Holy Trinity, Mary Star, like lots of people get on me on that. People can still swim. Scouts can use it even more. So maybe we'll have powwows on their other events. So really appreciate you coming here tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that takes care of the questions from around the table. Any questions from the audience? Okay.
Thanks so much. Have a wonderful night.
It was really nice seeing you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I know, I see him.
He has been so patient.
I'd like to say we saved the best for last.
Unfortunately, your fire. No, the fire department left already. You gotta run. He had a call.
Did he have a call?
Allegedly. I'm gonna make that clear. Allegedly. No, but hello everybody. How are you guys doing? Better late than never. But okay, so unfortunately, the gentleman, the crime analysis guy, he must have had a Super Bowl, because he didn't make it to work today. So I don't have the crime stats. So I was like, well, let me put something together for everybody that I think is actually really good, and it kind of lays more work into like really what the LAPD's kind of really been doing in the community. So proactive police work. So the 6 arrests that I'm going to kind of bring up go on top of the officers that do the radio calls on a daily basis, and this doesn't include those arrests that they make, like domestic violence and the child abuse ones and all that stuff. This is the officers that they're driving around, they see something, and they act on it. So I'll just list them. Channel and Gaffey at the skate park area, in that parking lot right there, officers, they observed a equipment violation on the vehicle. They conducted an investigation, and it was determined that that was a stolen vehicle, and also the occupant inside the vehicle had narcotics. So he was arrested for the stolen vehicle and the narcotics he had in his possession. At Peck Park, I think mid-January, there was a little bit of a police presence in this area. That was due to the gang unit conducting a pedestrian stop on an individual that was on parole. The individual fled the officers, and perimeter was set up, and eventually he was taken into custody and stuff. So first and western area, there was a traffic stop by a patrol unit for a traffic violation. And when they ran the individual, it turned out that person had felony warrants. So, a little minor traffic stop. I don't know if they were expecting that, but that's what they got. And that person was placed into arrest. And his warrants were for narcotics and burglary. First and Gaffey, the quality of life car was doing extra patrol in the area. They usually do a lot of stops on folks. And basically, they arrested a subject for narcotics. Patrol, they were working with a parole officer. They were doing parole compliance checks, which is basically to make sure that this person's in compliance with their parameters of their parole. And they arrested a subject who was in violation of his parole. So he was obviously doing something that he wasn't supposed to be doing, and there's a wide range of that, but that was an arrest that was made. Another one, patrol, they conducted a head stop on a subject, and it revealed that he had felony warrants as well, so he was arrested. So I say this because, a lot of times there's a lot of things going on in the community that people think aren't getting addressed, but a lot of these arrests are basically officers outside of radio calls, which the patrol is extremely busy because they're the staffing, and basically they're taking initiative and they're doing the extra stuff that's needed to keep the community safe. So that's very good. So I just really want people to understand that there is police work that is being done in terms of enforcement and stuff. Another subject, importance of making radio calls. So a lot of people, they either don't get through due to the communications downtown, the long wait times with the getting through to non-emergency, etc. Or they have issues that a lot of times that I see that it's like, well, if you call the non-emergency line, a lot of this stuff can be resolved if you kind of, don't just say that there's a problem, but if you actually make that call and actually, it can be addressed. So mid-January, there was a call for a man with a stick, right? He was causing a disturbance and loitering in front of a business. So officers attempted to make contact with him, de-escalate the situation. Unfortunately, his mental state, etc., it required a backup. That means that a lot of officers had to come and help to de-escalate the situation. That investigation revealed that he had felony warrants, and he was placed under arrest. This one's interesting because I get a call like this all the time. Basically, it's like an unhoused person sets up an encampment on private property. If it's on private property, it can be addressed pretty quickly. I say there's two reasons. I'll say the second reason last, but a lot of times if you let a problem fester, it's just going to keep growing. So the good thing is to kind of address it as fast as possible. So the owner of the apartment complex had a discussion with him, and what he did was he came out there, and by the way, this subject was generating a lot of radio calls for creating various types of disturbances in the community around that specific apartment complex. But the owner came out and he, made a call, and police came, and that subject was placed under arrest for trespassing. Eventually, he also did the trespass arrest authorization, which gave us the ability to go on his property with his consent on that signed and notarized form. And we're able to conduct enforcement because the person was released after the trespass arrest. He went back to the location, caused more disturbances, but we are now able to go onto the property and make the arrest of him again. So that was good. So I just want to say that's the importance of making radio calls and calling the non-emergency line. Some people do have a habit of calling the front desk. The front desk does not dispatch officers. Only the non-emergency line, the dispatch downtown, dispatches officers. The traffic safety QR code. I hope people are using it. I have found it is successful because I know there's varying wait times to get a response from the South Traffic Division, but I do have one positive note on that is basically a community member reached out due to safety traffic concerns. She utilized the QR code, and within days, a motor officer was in front of her property doing traffic stops, citations, and impounding vehicles due to the drivers not having the appropriate licenses for their vehicle. So their vehicle was impounded. Another thing I want to touch up on is the San Pedro Library. The month of January, so I looked up all the calls for service, that area, the codes, the officers going there and doing the extra patrols. So officers do check on that location on a daily basis. They do conduct 4118 enforcement. I do it every day. There was a citation written for the 4118. Multiple arrests were made on 10th Street. Although not my area, it's the south side of the street, but still the officers went over there because they saw something that needed to be addressed, and it revealed either narcotics or warrants. Also, let's see here. I want to say, too, the quality of life car, they know a lot of the folks that are walking around in the streets and their backgrounds and stuff, and they knew that one guy did have a warrant. So although he wasn't committing a violation on the San Pedro Library property, they knew he had a warrant, so he was placed under arrest for the warrant. And also just looking at the calls for service, although there are calls for service generated at 9th and Gaffey for like traffic collisions or a 415 man, which is like someone causing a disturbance, like either yelling, etc., or going into the street. The library specifically, there were 0 calls for service at the library. So I want to say that the library is doing a very good job of addressing issues with either persons setting up encampments in the parking lot. But I want to say, too, that a lot of it is LAPD kind of really doing a lot of extra patrol there. I go there on a daily basis. I check the rear parking lot. I check the front. I check everybody before they walk into the library. If they have an encampment set up, I tell them to break it down and all that good stuff. So, it's something we're continuing to work on. E-bikes. So I know we talked about e-bikes last time. I want to say that we do a safety collaboration meeting with a lot of the schools in the area for San Pedro. At this meeting, I have Officer Rowe, the South Traffic Officer that helps us in this area. He gave me a pamphlet for e-bikes, the new laws that have passed or that are now in effect for 2026. And basically, I gave that pamphlet to the school staff there. It's like it has their admin side and the principals for all the schools. And I asked them, the school police were there as well. I asked them, can you guys please provide this to like the parents of all these children so that they understand that there is laws here for these e-bikes. And also, a lot of the complaints we get, I'm assuming that these kids do go to school. So I asked them, these kids go to school and do they have these e-bikes? And they said, yeah, they do have these e-bikes and they come to school with them. I said, maybe what we can start doing is you guys could read the pamphlet, verify if they're in violation or not, basically with school PD when they're on the property of the school. And if they're not supposed to have it at the school, then why are they bringing it? So they're going to work on that on their end. They're going to inform the parents on their end with the pamphlet I provided. If you want that pamphlet, I have it. I'll email it to you. Please reach out to me. But that's my goal. My goal is to hopefully that limits the amount of time that these e-bikes are being used, and so Monday through Friday might be a little bit more, in theory, less likely to have e-bike incidents. So that's the goal at least, and hopefully the parent. A lot of it has to do with education. So hopefully the parents, can say, hey, wow, this is a violation. This isn't safe, and I don't want to pay this fine or get the e-bike impounded. So. I'm really hoping that can start and be useful. And lastly, so Officer Bravo, I don't know if you guys know her, she actually works the Gateway as a senior lead officer. She's going to put on a leadership advocacy for the direction of young empowerment. It's a young women's leadership conference designed for women the ages of 14 to 19. It's basically in the month of March on every Tuesday. There's going to be like a guest speaker, and they're going to go over lessons from self-defense, domestic violence, illicit drugs, street racing, human trafficking, financial literature, and career panel. So I think it's a really good and beneficial thing that if you guys know youthful or women from the 14 and 19 and they would like to partake in this, I think it's going to be pretty good. The guest speakers are going to be good. It's going to be officers as well. I left some flyers on the back table back there, about 20 of them. So there is limited seating though. So you have to RSVP. It wants you to contact Officer Bravo, either email or cell, and reserve a spot. So if you know somebody that needs it, I think it could be very beneficial. And that's all I have.
Thank you. I see some hands. I saw a hand on this side. Christina, was that you? Yes. Okay, Christina, and then Kelly.
Quick question regarding the. They're more than e-bikes. They're, I think, what you consider off-road motorcycles, and it occurs at Gaffey and Channel, kind of between the two gas stations and by Big Nick's. And there was a big event a couple of weeks ago, and I did see black and white observing, but it was, as a citizen just trying to drive through the chaos, it was kind of frightening. And I understand kids want to have fun, but where is the line drawn between citizens trying to navigate the intersection and these kids doing wheelies and crossing?
So those ones are very challenging, but they do happen periodically, and they have happened specific at that intersection. So sometimes these groups do come from different parts of the city, different cities in general, and they do meetups, right? But I would advise, obviously, so you don't want to get in a collision with any of them, just avoid them. Don't just, if you can, it's hard to maneuver around them, but I get that 100%. An officer, just call 911, advise them this is what is happening, and they're taking over the intersection so that we can start deploying resources there. That officer, obviously, there are, sometimes where one unit can be taken over, and the next thing you got broken windows and all this other stuff going on, right? So there is an officer safety issue with that as well. So they might have been trying to radio more officers to come assist. I don't know, but just call it in and let us get the resources there to get control of that intersection, because that's what is going to be needed. And in terms of like the different bikes, sometimes it's dirt bikes, ATVs, quads. It could be the e-bikes. So obviously each one, if it's on the road, there's certain laws and stuff. So if we're able to get one stopped and take it, and that's what we'll do. And that does happen. But those are very unpredictable situations. So I wish I could provide you like a more of a clear answer, but just call 911 and hey, we need police officers here because we have a group of 10, 20, 30, 40 taking over an intersection. Next thing you know, you're going to have traffic collisions, and we don't want that.
Kelly?
Yes, well, thank you on that, because I've seen a lot more kids with helmets. At least that's the first start. I haven't seen them in groups of 5 or 6 going anywhere up here by Pet Park and stuff. That's kind of calmed down a little bit. They're still doing their inner white leaving and stuff, but you can tell that they have been spoken to or something's been done because they're following more laws than they were.
Well, this is good.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Today there was an incident. I know it's too soon to have any information, but I know there was an incident on 8th and Averill. I have a question because we were at school. There was helicopters. We weren't notified. We weren't told to lock down or anything. Our kids freak out since we had a shooting by our school. Our kids freak out when they hear the helicopters and stuff because they don't know. Our principal was told one thing, and then the Citizen app said it was a shooting and there was ambulances and police there. I really wish that we need better communication. The school I don't care what it is, if there's police and whatever, there needs to be, even if it's just a temporary lockdown, we need to be on lockdown just to make sure that I know that they don't want to have this big elaborate thing and have the kids scared, but the kids are more scared when they don't know what's going on than if we know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the circumstances were. It was something to do with a child or something. I don't know when that report will be out officially that we can find that, because it's just very scary when you're trying to protect 300 and some kids and you don't know what's going on, and there's obvious helicopters, which we know that there's a police presence, and you don't know what's happening in the area. It's really kind of scary. It's very daunting, especially after we've had a shooting.
Yeah. So with that one, I can't get into the details on that specific call. There's a lot to that one. But in regards to the schools, they can place themselves on lockdown, and sometimes the incident commander or the primary unit of the radio call or whatever it is will tell the dispatch to advise the local school or something like that to do a lockdown, and they'll contact that school. Each school does. They have their protocols on like doing lockdowns and stuff. Sometimes we have the principals or some staff members come out and ask, do we need to go on lockdown? Right. So it's obviously without putting people in danger, if that's what people can do to get an answer to actually get them to do stuff or to figure out what they have to do, then do it. But also the schools, the principal, it's up to them to make that call as well. I think they don't have to wait for us. What's it called? So the report will come out eventually with that radio call. I'm not going to speak on it right now because it's way too early, but it was a very dynamic situation with what was going on. It was very fast, and it was it was like an emergency of that situation. So I would say that the officers and them at the scene were going to do their best in regards to notifying schools, but with that specific situation and what was going on, it really just came down to that house, and everything was like everything's right there from that house, nothing else. So.
Okay. Yeah, because you don't know that when you hear the helicopters.
Yeah.
And when they call, there's a line that they're given to call. There's a line that they're given to call, and they said it was something to do with a protest or something. Somebody was in a protest or something, and we're like, what?
No.
And then, of course, I have to report it to our staff because I'm in charge of the line for that. And then, I'm in charge of notifying the staff, and so but my principal calls and says, it's a protest. We're not on lockdown, but don't let the kids go out. Because we're not given full information of, if it's limited to one house, then okay, please tell us it's limited to one house.
Yeah.
But when there's helicopters going over and you have 300 and some kids you want to keep safe, protocol should be lock us down until we know specific, and then go from there. Because it's safer to be on a lockdown than it is to not be, especially after what happened in the last shooting.
Yeah.
But thank you. I knew you weren't going to be able to speak on it, but I wanted to make sure that it was, it wasn't just a figurative citizen app.
Oh, you got to be careful with those ones.
Oh yeah, I don't follow any of that, but boy, we sure have a lot of people that do. Thank you.
Let's move on. Any other questions for Senior League? Are you putting your hand up or are you just exercising? Okay, Gwen.
Well, actually, this might be a little bit out of the scope. Regarding those takeovers, a couple of times I was on the 110 and I could see a whole group ahead of me and coming to, down the 110, and they could have taken any of off ramps. Can we as citizens maybe, if they're on the bridge or anything like that, can we kind of try to get on the phone and call 911? Would that be it, saying this is where I'm going and this is where they're going?
So that would help us too, because that would allow the dispatch to put over the radio like an information only broadcast, like, hey, information only, there's a group of approximately 200 motorcycle riders on the 110 southbound approaching San Pedro.
Yeah.
And that would let us know, like, oh, okay, we have 200 people coming to party. So we'll be aware of it, and then we can get a head start on it.
Yeah, once it was dark.
Yeah.
It was actually dark, and it was hard to see. But in regards to that, with all of these improvements to the bridge and everything, is there cameras that can actually be added by Caltrans or anything like that in order to provide some of that observation? I mean,
we have cameras.
What's the communication between Caltrans and different sheriff entities?
So I mean, there's how do you say it? Like if you make a radio call in a certain area or call, it's going to go to a center, and then they'll dispatch it to that local agency and stuff like that. So it'll get there. But there's no one I don't know if there's someone actively monitoring cameras and then they'll call dispatch. I don't think that exists, but there are cameras, like say if a crime happens or there's like a getaway car or something like that, there's cameras that will find these vehicles and stuff.
Well, the reason I ask that is because the drones,
We got to keep it moving. Sorry about that.
Text me.
Yeah, speak offline.
CPAB. I guess I'll see you at the next
Talk to your public safety person so that there's
some.
And CPAB is a good place to go too, right?
Yeah, so not November. Whoa. February 19th is the next CPAB meeting, Harbor Station at 6 p.m. So if you guys would like to come, you're more than welcome to.
Great, thank you.
I will ask there.
Any other questions, comments, audience? Any? Okay. Thank you for sticking with us, Officer Baloney. I really appreciate your work.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, so we're going to close out item number 5. We're going to go on to consent calendar. We have 2 items on the consent calendar, January 12th meeting minutes and the January 2026 budget and finance. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
I'll move it.
Second.
Second? Or
Second.
move it. Second?
She moved
Okay.
it. You seconded it. Melanie moved. You second. John? Any discussion? No discussion? Okay. Can we take a vote?
Thomas? Thomas?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Adrian?
Yeah. Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Mike? Me?
Yes.
Christina?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous.
Okay. Thank you. Let's move on to agenda item number 7. Now, look, it's after 8:30. We've got to, keep in mind that we have park staff here that has to clean up after we leave. So let's try to really just get through some of these and let's get through the motions, some quick reports, and then we can get out of here. So with that, budget and finance, you have a couple.
Yep. So first off is the MER. This is not out of committee because this business day was after our meeting. So I need a move.
So move, Norman.
Second by
And second,
Chris.
Chris. Any discussion? If not, call for the vote. Thomas?
Yes. Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Adrian?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And Christina.
Yes.
Next is the, so this is the use of the $900, page 11. The budget, there's picture on the net, there's the estimate for the amount 555 for the postage and the licensing for the movie, the popcorn that's gone extremely high in price now. But anyway, it's $899.76. Nothing like cutting it close with them increasing the price on the Poppropolis. But anyway.
So moved by Norman.
Okay, it's out of committee, so we just need a vote.
All right then. Aye.
Okay, so Thomas, yes?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Adrian?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Christina?
Yes.
Alrighty. Then I'll do if you want, the next one for the CIS. On executive, the next motion.
Okay.
Okay, on page 14, we're going to move on to the next motion for the CIS.
This is item B under motions.
Yeah, and this is out of committee, out of executive committee. So on this, the reason why we're having to do this again is that on our 2014 vote, or in 2024 vote, we didn't have the right majority to vote. We were short one vote, and they said that we were invalid, our CIS that we did, even though for 2 years we've been operating on it, and all of a sudden it's invalid. So it's like, okay, so you just discovered this 2 years later. So now, because it was invalid, our CIS, we have to redo the CIS in order to go to Zoom meetings for committee meetings and whatever again. So here we are. So this is the CIS on page 14. Any discussion further on this?
None.
Okay. Thomas?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie? Yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
May?
Yes.
And Christina?
Yes.
Alrighty.
Okay, item number 2 under B. Chris, you want to take that one?
Thanks. Yeah. So this is all coming out of a conversation we had in Youth and Outreach. Real briefly, I was working actually, but I attended the vigil for Alex Preddy. It took place at the Little Company of Mary. The council member was there, supervisor was there, and a pretty large turnout from the community. And it just impressed me the sort of depth of emotion and the breadth of interest in this particular incident. And you know, San Pedro has a particular history with respect to the actions of Immigration and Customs enforcement, since their staging area is right across the main channel over at Terminal Island. And the way that this situation in Los Angeles and throughout the country has continued to escalate, the fact that we may be looking at, you know, another 3 years at least of this type of activity, and the level of interest and honestly the degree of passion that a lot of people in the community have about this made me wonder if there was something, if there was something that we could facilitate as a board in partnership and with, you know, the widest possible buy-in and participation from elected leaders, from law enforcement, from other neighborhood councils, and, you know, even activists and self-organizing groups about educating and educating members of the community about their legal rights, about the current status, about the relationships between different law enforcement agencies, kind of a clearinghouse of ideas, an information session, but also an opportunity for people who are motivated from the community to find one another, not necessarily coming to us, but being in the same room at the same time, hearing subject experts from people who, follow and report on ICE activity, to law enforcement agencies who may have to collaborate or to, have overwatch, to elected leaders who have policy and other political considerations to make, so that our community can sort of find a level and self-organize, self-educate in what might be a long-term prospect. I mean, we're looking at, amongst other things, potential of a long-term ICE presence on Terminal Island, especially as the prison closes, and the future plans for that site are not known. If there are any, they might not necessarily be public. But also as an opportunity, given that there is some degree of, trauma and certainly frustration and disappointment at the very least, amongst the community as to the nature of this thing. How is this happening? Why is this happening? And that sort of thing. So I feel like there's an opportunity into several, conversations about public safety, interactions with law enforcement, use of force, that I think we have the opportunity to talk amongst ourselves, to sound our concerns to elected leaders, to law enforcement, to at least ask for and feel out their responses, and try and get as frank and open a description of their procedures and activities as possible, and to communicate our expectations, up the food chain to the police department, to maybe the sheriff's department, but to the supervisor's office and CD15, the mayor's office, et cetera. So the first step, I thought, is because, I certainly have a whole day's worth of thoughts on my own, but I wanted people to bring that to the table, and I wanted the first step would be for members of the board, and unfortunately what I would hope would have been a larger audience for the meeting, to first consider, but then think about, what is it, sort of besides telling war stories or talking about how upset you are, but to come to the table with questions as to what we can do to, I'm going to call it a provocation, but what can we do as a community to react to this in a constructive manner that makes us better knit? But then again, hopefully sets an example for other, because there's communities all over LA County who've had varying degrees of trauma associated with this. And so what I'd like to do is kind of set an example, first starting in the harbor area, and then hopefully there may be things that other people observe and go, we can do that here, and then maybe throughout the city, maybe throughout the state, and so forth, because other cities like Minneapolis or Chicago have or will be dealing with this. And so, we were kind of the first impact creator of this activity, and it was very high profile for a little while. And since it's kind of moved on while still having a certainly significant level of activity, I would like to take this opportunity while it's on everybody's minds, while people are relatively engaged, to see if we can get people to commit to moving us all forward in a way that, we understand each other's concerns a little bit better, but also we are very forceful and consistent about our expectations for government, in as much as there's things that's kind of beyond even the control of the mayor and county supervisors and things like that. But we don't have to just scroll and be freaked out and upset about what we're seeing, and hopefully give people an opportunity to organize with one another, whether they want to go on ICE patrols, or whether they want to lobby, or whether they want to donate to out-of-state, elections or whatever, because again, it's an election year, and we'll be picking policymakers who are going to help, hopefully, guide us through this next couple of chapters. And so there's kind of a unique opportunity coming up. So the first step is what I'd like to sort of collect some input, or at least have, because in a way we have to sort of table this for next month. But for our next youth and outreach meeting, hopefully in issues and in public safety, you can continue those conversations. Come back here next month. We can have at least input on putting together a outline or a framework that we can deliver to elected officials and other potential invitees, say, look, this is what we'd like to talk about. This is how we'd like to talk about it. This is what we're going to be asking for going forward. So if you guys want to, I think I saw Thomas first, and then
Well,
Thomas first, and then Melanie, and then Gwen. Thomas first, and then Melanie, and then Gwen.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing this up. I was born in Minnesota, and I landed the Friday before Alex Bruddy was murdered. It was about 2 miles away from where he was murdered. I went to the vigil the next day. I went to Mass, saw the community. It was about 10, 12 below zero. So I would love to see this neighborhood council have some statement of support and solidarity. I really believe the week I spent there was under fascist control. To see the gangs of 8 people masked with no regard for people older than women here getting in their faces, and the mistreatment. My daughter's still there. She has a professor so terrified that she's not come to give piano lessons this entire semester. The international students my daughter works with have been afraid to come to work, so my daughter's doing twice the cleanup. It has traumatized this city. Every restaurant you go to will say ICE not welcome. If it doesn't have an F word, ICE, that's a nice way of putting it. To stand with these people, to see what when nurses are harmed, like how many people came together that Sunday was inspiring. But what I witnessed, like LA was bad, like my daughter Abby and I was here in LA and we thought this was bad. It is, and I didn't think ICE would be out in such cold weather, but their desire to just intimidate and harass people is unconscionable. People have made comparisons to the rise of National Socialism, and they are real. Minneapolis has a community. You had Lutheran, Catholic, Jewish, people all banding together, and they did not believe they would get shot or punished like they were, right? So I hope that we can speak through a community impact statement in support for this area. I very much hope we can have this agendized so we can do something concrete, because what's happened there could very well be happening here tomorrow with the court case where our desire to try to unmask these folks, I guess that was just struck down today. So sorry I'm speaking a little bit. I'll make my report shorter, but thank you for thinking about this and caring about this.
Thanks.
So a couple of things for housekeeping here a little bit. First, we've got a motion that's on the agenda that is, that Victor, the way he had listed it, was as a possible action regarding presentation in March. What I'd like to do is amend that motion that's on the agenda and amend it to that we have a presentation in April, that the motion be that have the Issues Committee and Public Safety come together organizing for March to present in March, to organize and present in March to have a presentation in April from.
Well, I mean, because we don't have full attendance and obviously not much of an audience, I think it would be, what we would do is I think, just to not move any action now. This is kind of a heads up for everybody.
So can we just disregard it then, even though it's on here?
Well, even if it's agendized, if it doesn't get moved and seconded, then we don't vote anyway.
If I can, what we have here is discussion and possible action.
And possible action,
So
okay.
this is purely discussion at this particular point, and the action will come either next month.
And then the other thing in response to Thomas, there is no council file at this time to do a CIS on. But
we can write a letter.
Thank you. That's where I was going. We can write a letter. And I think in the end, after we have speakers come, then once we hear from those speakers and our committees are putting together what we're interested in, what we want to come out of this, and then have the speakers come, I think as a board we need to write a very specific letter to the mayor and the city council.
Well, I think, the mayor and also the potential mayoral candidates, because again, in an election year,
Yes.
we may not have the same person here next year, but whoever's there needs to know.
I agree.
Okay, Gwen, quick, please.
I hope that we can arrange that both of our committees create a joint committee meeting for this in March. We come to some kind of term. But
just for our understanding, define a joint meeting. Who are you talking about?
Public safety and youth and outreach, is that correct?
So you're talking about a joint committee meeting.
A joint committee meeting.
So that's what I'm hearing you say.
Where both meet together in a joint committee meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
thank you.
clarifying. So, but with that, we talk about doing outreach events. I would hope that, like with the public safety, with the fire suggestion in public speaking, that we could possibly host an event where people have booths that will give this kind of information. We can really do an event. I also am concerned that we may also end up with the kind of ICE employees that are taking over a smaller city. The budget is, the federal budget is there to literally triple their presence here. But it would be nice to find out what the governor is doing to mitigate that. Maybe there's a lot of force and back politics that are kind of pressuring a quieter response here, which doesn't help anything because, anyway, nonetheless. The other suggestion I have is that we reach out regarding data. We're not getting any data as to who's missing. Who are the missing people? Are our elected representatives able to tabulate a missing persons report since we're not getting any other information?
So Gwen, I'm going to suggest that, I like your idea about the two committees meeting. So perhaps maybe during the course of the next week or two, these two committees can meet, and you can bring your concerns to that meeting to see what we can and
come up with some solutions that we can do. Yeah.
So thank you for that. Any other around the table?
Well, I just wanted to sort of, again, recommend to, over the next meeting cycle, that, issues, public safety, and whoever else, quite honestly, even if it's not agendized, just collect your thoughts, make your notes for next month, where we can we can build out a more robust.
Just so that we keep in mind that we got to be careful about Brown Act requirements, so we can't have a quorum meeting in that respect unless it's a special meeting you want to have with that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, even individually, if you want to just collect your thoughts, do a little bit of homework, and bring something back next month.
Yeah.
To because this could go any number of ways, and that would be determined by what people wish to do and what they wish to see. So I'm not telling you to do any particular thing. Just I'm hoping to have this extended conversation next month.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. We're going to move on because of time.
And we still have the bylaws.
So we're going to move on to the Bylaws and Elections Committee. Adrian, you want to hit that?
Yes.
Yay!
Great conversation, guys. Thank you. Hello, my name is Adrian. I'm the chair of the Bylaws and Elections Committee. Last Tuesday, we had our meeting doing our standing 2 hours and 24 minutes. That's how precise and detailed we were on this. So I just want to give a huge thank you to the committee members that lasted that long. So in your packet, there's two sets of standing rules. The first one is on page 15. Those are substantial, and those are major amendments that we came up with. And the second one is on page 18. Those are little grammatical changes, like putting a period somewhere or capitalizing. We're going to take two votes. The first vote is going to be to approve these little minor editorial ones. So
Are these out of committee?
This is out of committee.
Okay.
So I don't need a first and a second.
You don't?
I don't.
No.
It's out of committee.
No.
Any discussion? Any public comment? You can take a vote on the editorial changes.
Alrighty. Thomas?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Adrian?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
May?
Yes.
And Christina?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. We have periods and capital letters. That's great. The second one is a consent calendar of all 11 amendments that we came up with. I'm going to briefly go through them very quickly. all amendments very quickly. This is consent. Okay. And then amendment number 1 is basically saying that when you're in virtual meetings, you have your camera on. Amendment number 2 is we're restructuring the sections. Executive committee was its own section in section 2. What I felt was to make it more to flow correctly, we're moving the executive committee section to the standing committee section. So all the committees are going to be in one spot.
Yeah.
Amendment number 3 is something that should have happened a long time ago, but it's just correcting the name of the port planning, land use, and port, and the environment sustainability, making sure those broke off. That passed a long time ago, but it was never, those corrections were not made in the standing rules. Amendment 4, it is basically adding to each committee in the standing rules, it adds the word primary, enforcing the fact that each committee's primary area of responsibility. Number 5 is sort of the way our practice on when we're going into discussion, that comments from the board shall be heard before the public. Traditionally, it's public before the board, but this board has typically done it where it's board before the public, so it's just enforcing what we've already been doing. Number 6 is basically saying that the website will be used for announcements for governmental and community meetings as well. And then number 7 is, let's see here, 7. Oh, it just talks about board terms for officers. Number 8 is including the word S in selections when it comes to officer elections. That's a little grammatical. And this one, number 9, it is enforcing the fact, and a good conversation that we had is we do have liaisons, a lot of liaisons. It's enforcing the fact that liaisons are required to attend and submit written reports. So it's enforcing the fact that, if you're becoming a liaison, if you're taking a position, you should owe up to that position. Before it said shall, but this time we're changing it to required. Number 10 is kind of revamping the way we do our youth seat selection. So prior to it, it was very, I believe it was very vague. It was just kind of put an application out. I felt that this amendment right here, it made it a little bit more structured, right? So, and a little bit more of accountability when it comes to producing applications and finding a youth seat. So what we put in is we changed the wording to the Youth and Outreach Committee is responsible for setting the process for the selection of the youth representative. The committee shall develop an application which must be available no later than July 15th and set the deadline for submission, which must be no earlier than September 15th. Solicit applications, interview all qualified applicants, and make recommendations subject to a final vote at the board meeting following the closure of the application period. The term of office shall be 1 year from the time of appointment. Number 11 is adding to section 1 is basically saying the board shall stop having side conversations. That is something that has become very relevant is, when we're doing business, that's these side conversations, people going over there, going, to the corner and chit chat, so this is just reinforcing the fact. So this is consent calendar. There is no discussion unless somebody wants to pull an amendment out and discuss that specific amendment.
I would. I apologize in advance in terms of time.
No
it's
worries.
The article about the guidelines and the instructions to youth and outreach about the coming up with the applications.
Wait, you want to take it out? We can have the discussion. You have to take it out the consent.
Yeah, that's what I...
Okay. So I'm taking number 10 out the consent. Any other ones?
Removing number 10?
Removing number 10. Any other amendments that want to be pulled? Now's your chance. Okay. Yes.
Number 11.
Number 11's been pulled as well.
Remove number 11?
Number 11's been pulled as well.
Okay.
Any other?
Can't discuss it?
What? It's consent. You can't discuss it. You can't discuss in consent. Okay. So we'll be voting on Amendment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I will move. Is there a second?
Second.
Somebody seconded.
Christina.
Christina? Go to a vote.
Okay. Thomas?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
May?
Yes.
And Christina?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Okay. Back to number 10, Mr. Valle.
so number 10.
Yes. We're on 10. Discussion for 10.
Okay. I don't have a problem necessarily with, these sort of directives being given, other than honestly, it's more the concept of rules being made for the internal function of a committee by people outside of that committee who aren't going to have to participate in the work being directed. In this case, it's relatively minor, but to me, it sounds like, again, from the level of bylaws, and of course this is all pending consent by vote anyway, but sort of we're all going to decide what you do in your committee, but none of us are going to be there to do it type of thing. And again, this is a relatively minor example. I'm just bringing that up in terms of the function. If that's what the rest of the board would like to see happen, we'll go ahead and do it. But I think that maybe attendance at a youth and outreach meeting to talk to us about that process would be warranted. But again, we can make it work.
So I hear what you're saying. I will say that John, who is the co-chair, is a committee member, and John was there and we went to great lengths. I don't necessarily believe it's another committee going into, because again, this is the committee that sets our standing rules.
Understood.
So I hear what you're saying, but I agree and I disagree.
Which is kind of exactly where that's kind of
So
Instead of the 30-day, we gave
Thomas. Yeah, Thomas. Yeah.
I wanted to speak in favor. I can see why a member of the committee might take objection of directing work, but what the substance is about the selection and ratification of a member of this group, right? A very important voice. And I do think that as we have deadlines for our elections, that we should treat this group with the same amount of predictability. So I'm very glad to see this here. And maybe it might have been better to put somewhere else in here, but it certainly should be somewhere in the bylaws. And if Youth and Outreach wants to be in charge of that, then I would ask that they understand the reason for the interference in that, to just allow us to have plenty of time to make sure we give ample notice to our youth members.
I will say that there also is a caveat to this, that this, traditionally the application is out for a month. This would allow it to be out for 2 months. So, given that it's 2 months, it also brings in a bigger pool of kids, right? Because they'll be in the summer and then also be going into a month into the school year. Melanie, yes.
I think with this, I understand what Chris is saying, but what the standing rules does is it's basically a roadmap of guidelines. It kind of holds your feet to the fire for each committee and each little process that says, this is what you're supposed to do, to remind you that these are the dates that you need to conform in. And yes, you have your own little guidelines that you do, but just little things that we have, just like with budget and finance in there, it's that we can't make motions other than the financial ones, and they have to come from another standing committee. Those type of things go in there, so it makes it kind of uniform. And so when the next person comes in, they know that this is what is expected of them, and this is the continuity of everything in the process.
Yes, I also will remind the board that last month we actually amended our bylaws to say that the selection will be addressed in our standing rules. So Gwen. Yes.
Actually, the conversation for this was extremely long and well discussed.
It was about 40 minutes.
Just this one item. And it was based on what Norman has already pointed out. Elections are done by the city clerk. Elections have strict rules. Elections have promotional period and everything like that.
Yeah.
We have this special seat. It is an election. It really is. It's a mini election within our own thing. And so the structure of this to give all kids the opportunity to be informed upon it, and the decision of having half of it during the summer period and potentially reaching out to youth groups and summer groups and YMCA groups, and then the other part is to the schools themselves. This was all really, really crafted and on a very, very strong, very carefully. So I hope that could be considered.
Is there any other discussion? Any public comment? Okay.
Okay. Call for the vote?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Kane?
Yes.
Ray?
Yes.
Adrian?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly?
Yes.
May?
Yes.
Christina?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
It passed.
Okay. So the 11 now.
11? Okay. We're on 11. Who came?
Kane.
Did you pull out 11? Yes. Do you want to discuss 11?
I appreciate the time and effort that went into the amendments to the bylaws. This item 11 is something that I believe that would be more in decorum than a rule by the bylaws.
These are standing rules.
Okay.
So think of standing rules as like laws, and think of like the bylaws as like the Constitution. So the bylaws will always supersede the standing rules. And the thing about the standing rules can be changed at any time.
Right.
So I just want to keep that in mind.
So, thank you. So, with these standing rules, this would be enforced.
Yes.
Okay.
It would be enforced by the chair, yes.
By whom?
By the chair, who's running the meeting.
Okay. The chair does have this power already, correct?
Well, it's not that he has the power. it's just within all of us, right, that we go with what's in our standing rules.
Okay. So it's already in the power already.
What was that again?
So we already have this power, correct? Already?
It's not. No, we haven't passed it yet. It's a proposed amendment.
Adrian.
Yes.
What this is when we have speakers here, the police officer, the fire department, Tim McCosker, that people get up while we're having our council meeting, go out there and start talking to them. That's what this is, that you have to wait till the end or say to them, hey, can I like to meet with you? Is there a time? Not just get up and go. That's what this is.
Yeah, I agree. I've been in a meeting before, and I've been guilty of it once or twice.
We all have.
But I think if we just put a sign on the door, and because this is a respect decorum issue, I don't think it needs to, go to that, because there could be an instance where somebody could take it too far. So again.
What I'd like to do, since there's some discussion on this and perhaps maybe some vetting the question out, maybe we can hold off on this, because we're holding up a city employee here who has to shut down this facility. We're way late.
I don't think it's a question of disputing it. I think it's a question of understanding it.
And all I'm saying is that we can perhaps have this discussion. Okay. We can hold this one in advance. And then if it's okay with you.
I just want to understand, is there a motion to table this?
So moved.
Oh, I didn't make the motion. I'm just asking.
Oh, I will.
Okay.
I move that we table this sub-item for further consideration. 11.
Second.
Thomas Strong, second.
Discussion?
No.
I see no hands. Can we just take the vote?
Yep.
Are we?
So-
Wait. I need clarification. I'm sorry, Melanie. Are we tabling it to the committee, or are we tabling it to the next board meeting?
The next board meeting.
Next board meeting.
And we'll just
Motion to table number 11 until next board meeting.
I know you put a lot of work into it, but
2 hours and 24 minutes.
yeah, I think that's the 8th time you've mentioned it to me.
Chris?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Kane.
Yes.
Ray.
Yes.
Adrian.
Yes.
Gwen.
Yes.
Melanie, yes. Kelly.
Yes.
May.
Yes.
Christina.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
We're holding that up till next meeting.
Yep.
Which will include probably bylaws also, right?
No, we finished bylaws.
We finished bylaws.
Can we
finished
vote
bylaws.
Okay,
the
fine.
standing rules with that one excluded? Are we're now voting on the standing rules with that excluded?
No,
Is that
we voted on all of them.
Okay.
Yeah, he got 10 out of 11. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So this is what I'm going to say. Thomas, you have a report. Are you willing to hold off until next month? We may have another one. Okay. I really hate doing this because all this information, all this work is really important. But my feeling, if we have a city employee who's stuck his head through,
Well, help.
I'm sure he would love to go home and
Yep.
holding them up. Not to mention that I'm sure that there's a few of us around the table that, as much as we all enjoy each other's company, we probably like to go home too.
So would you like a motion to adjourn? If so, I will make it.
I second it.
Everybody.
Aye. All hand hands
Wait,
up.
any discussion?
No.
No discussion. Please take the vote.
Aye.
Well, without
You want to vote
objection?
for? We don't
Well,
have
it could
to.
be without
we have to-
objection.
without objection, we can just do it.
Hearing none?
Take the vote.
Take the vote.
Who wants to take the vote?
Thomas.
Aye.
Kane.
Aye.
John.
Yes.
Victor. Or no Victor. Ray.
Yep. Is on the floor.
Adrian.
Oh, yeah.
Gwen. Yes. Melanie, yes. Kelly.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
May.
Yes.
Christina.
Yes.
So can we help kind of gather
Yes.
and get this out of here? Thank you very much. Hey, and by the way, can we get nameplates for Kane and May?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, would you do that?
I have to write Cheryl. Have her make them.
Yeah.